You have one new message. Translating. Disney and Pixar's Hoppers is now available on Disney+.
You could say that again.
Critics are calling it Pixar's funniest movie ever and a wildly entertaining ride. Blizzard Potato. It's certified fresh and verified hot.
Now we party.
This is incredible!
Wow, I am clearing the rest of the day.
Disney and Pixar's Hoppers, now available on Disney+. Rated PG.
Study and play come together on a Windows 11 PC. And for a limited time, college students get the best of both worlds. Get the Unreal College Deal. Everything you need to study and play with select Windows 11 PCs. Eligible students get a year of Microsoft 365 Premium and a year of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate with a custom color Xbox wireless controller. Learn more at windows.com/student offer. While supplies last. Ends June 30th. Terms at aka.ms/collegepc.
Sid and Friends in the morning. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
I'm sorry, Sid. Hi.
Oh, God, don't be sorry. You kidding me?
No, I'm wrapped up in these meetings on peace. And I said, it's between peace and Sid Rosenberg. And I said, let's take Rosenberg, okay? So.
President Trump at the G7, the president was asked why not release the details of what he has now signed with Iran. Will the deal mean Iran gets money? And what about Iran's enriched uranium? What the president is now saying. Rachel Scott traveling with the president in Geneva.
Growing pressure on President Trump to release text of the deal he has already signed with the Iranians.
There's so much interest in the text of the document. Why not release the document?
Oh, I will.
Why not release it?
Well, because I'd like to get a formal setting first before we do that.
Vice President J.D. Vance has described the agreement as a very general document, about a page and a half long. The U.S. agreeing to lift the blockade of Iranian ports, Iran reopening the Strait of Hormuz. After that, 60 days of talks to address the future of Iran's nuclear program. Still unclear what kind of financial reward Iran has been promised. The Wall Street Journal reports the agreement allows Iran to start selling oil immediately. Trump's former ambassador to the UN, Nikki Haley, posting, if this is true, Iran wins. Senate Republican leader John Thune in the dark, telling reporters he requested the text from the administration, but nothing yet.
Clearly, like anybody else, we want to see the devil's in the details.
President Trump would only say this.
Here's what it says. Iran will never have a nuclear weapon. That's what it says. It won't have one to buy, to develop. They will not have a nuclear weapon. And I would say that's about 99.9% of what I wanted.
But Iran made the very same pledge in the Obama nuclear deal, which President Trump tore up in his first term.
President Trump says he's hoping that Iran will be, in, quote, the rear view mirror. But sources tell ABC News that U.S. intelligence agencies have serious doubts about whether Iran can be trusted in these final negotiations, David.
Israel's fighting Hezbollah too long, and too many people are being killed. And you don't have to knock down an apartment house every time you're looking for somebody. Because there are a lot of people in those apartment houses. And they're not all Hezbollah, that I can tell you. And I suggested to Israel to let Syria take care of Hezbollah. Because to be honest with you, I think they do a better job of doing it. And I didn't like Syria. I didn't like where 2 hours before we're signing the agreement that there was an attack in Lebanon, in Beirut. It wasn't like in the southern side, and it was in Beirut. I did not like that. I let them know that. I didn't like it, not at all. But I think that Syria, he's pulled that country together amazingly quickly. He's very capable, and he's been very good for me. He's protected everything that I've asked for. He's done. And if Israel can't do the job without killing everyone else, he'll do the job. Syria will do the job.
I'm surprised at how tall you are. It's very tall.
Well, if you only see somebody on TV, you just see their, in my case, giant head. So it hides how tall I am. Yeah. That's right.
We are the table of big heads here.
One of the things you see in the Epstein emails is that Jeffrey Epstein hated Donald Trump. and that Donald Trump literally reported Jeffrey Epstein to the police.
Okay,
that's one of the things that came out in these files.
They were best friends for about a decade. And remember, he signed that Transparency Act under duress when some Republican women, congresswomen like Lauren Boebert, like Marjorie Taylor Greene, did not give in to his pressure of not signing. He brought Lauren Boebert into the Situation Room to pressure her into caving on not voting for that bill.
So let me respond to that. So
that's all true.
Let me respond to that. So number one is, yes, Donald Trump, he said this. He knew Jeffrey Epstein back in the 1980s. He also threw Jeffrey Epstein out of his club when he found out he was a creep and reported him to the police. That's something that the media often misses when it reports the story. They tell the fact that they knew each other in the 80s, which the president himself admits. They ignore the fact that he narked on him to the police and led ultimately to JeffreyEpstein's downfall. To that point, Anna, you know the Republican Party. Well, it's one of the things that led to law enforcement investigation. But on the point that you made,
it was allegedly over a real estate deal that they got into a fight over.
But the email says actually
they didn't just know each other. Let's just be truthful and transparent here. They didn't just know each other.
He's in a lot of
they were incredibly close friends.
He reported him to the police. That's what I'm saying. That is objective. That is objectively true. But Anna made another point that I think Whoopi, if I may, because Anna made a very important point. This question about, did Donald Trump release these files only under duress from Republicans? And Anna, you know the Republican Party probably better than I do. The idea that Donald Trump runs around afraid of Republican congressmen as opposed to the other way around is kind of crazy.
The majority of people that ICE is rounding up and taking out of their homes from their families, they're separating families. They're using children as bait. But the majority are not criminals.
But can I respond to that, guys? Let me just say this. Okay. So you talk about the children. Here's what I'd say. Do we know that during the last administration, we had tens of thousands of children who were sex trafficked by the cartels, who were brought into our country in profoundly dangerous and predatory conditions.
Let's talk about this administration.
But here's the point. Unless you enforce the border, you invite that kind of conduct. You think that our immigration policies are inhumane based on the reporting of one person with a political bias. What I'm telling you is that it's inhumane to allow cartels to sex traffic people across our border. And by the way,
please hold on.
I appreciate that. First of all, it's been well covered that I was a critic of Donald Trump back in 2015 and 2016. Now, obviously, I'm sitting here as the Vice President of the United States in the Trump administration. Well, Joy, a little humility, actually. I think that when you make predictions and those predictions turn out to be false, you got to ask yourself, well, what made me wrong about that? What did I not understand or not appreciate? For example, I said that Donald Trump's economic policies would not lead to wage growth. They did in the first term. That was actually a major, major thing. I said that we couldn't bring back any of those factory jobs because I kind of had given into this idea that those jobs were disappearing. But actually, Donald Trump, you saw a manufacturing boom during that administration. So there's a certain point. Let me just so there's a certain point where you say, you know, I made predictions about this. I ended up being wrong. Yeah. And in politics and anything, I think it's important to just say, you know what? I got some things wrong, and I was wrong about him.
He made a terrible mistake. He made a terrible mistake for himself, his legacy, and for the country. He had said that he would not run again. And, you know, counterfactual narratives are always a bit tricky. But I believe if he had kept to that plan and said in, say, the late summer of 23 that he wasn't going to run, that he was going to pass, you know, the torch to the next generation, we would have had a real contest. And very sadly, I believe whoever emerged from that contest, whether it was the vice president or a governor or a senator or anybody else, would have beaten Donald Trump. So I think it was a terrible miscalculation on the part of President Biden. But once he didn't move and did not, you know, admit that he had said he was going to step aside and then decided not to, and held on for as long as he did, we were in a terrible dilemma.
Frank Sinatra once said, "Start spreading the news." So here I am, spreading the news. You know, we're about to hold what could be the largest ticker tape parade in our city's history. And you know it's going to be free to attend. But what happens after the parade? Well, That's the ceremony, and we'll be having that at City Hall, where we'll only be able to host a few thousand people for it. Now, usually, fans just have to watch that on TV. But so much of what made this championship special was you. And we want you to have a shot at being there for the ceremony yourself. So we're putting 600 seats aside for a public raffle. All you need to do is go to Knicks.com/ceremony sweeps and enter your information by 11 a.m. on Wednesday morning. Hope to see you there.
So I guess me and Phil Collins, or Phil Collins and I don't know, they get crazy with that nonsense. We're in agreement. I don't care anymore. You know, for years, people complained that Stairway to Heaven. Now, follow me here, Norman Lewis. Follow me. I know it's early, 6:19 a.m. on this glorious Wednesday morning. Follow me. For years, people complained that that great Led Zeppelin song, Stairway to Heaven, was no longer great because they played the crap out of it on WNEW, right? Scott Muni and Carol Miller, and they played it too much. So, you know, all these great songs that we've got in the history of music that people crush because, like Beatles songs, they play it too much, you know. You're aware of that, right? No?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, we waited 53 years for the Knickerbockers to win a championship. I mean, real fans like me. Not the couple of million that may show up tomorrow. Million that just kind of jumped on, you know. They don't watch a Knick game all year long. And now, once the Knicks got past the Atlanta Hawks, okay, let me take a look at this. Then they get past the 76ers. Okay, let me take a look at this. Now they got Cleveland in the Eastern Conference Finals, watch parties, people in the streets. I want to play. I want to play along. I'll buy a jersey. That's fine. And then, of course, it's the finals. Let me take a look at this. And all hell breaks loose in New York City. Thousands did celebrate and have a good time peacefully, but hundreds embarrassed the hell out of this city. Just embarrassed us. Now we got, 3.5 million people. The mayor, this moron, keeps making the point. This will probably be, no, stupid, it's going to be. We've been over this a million times, Mamdani. It's going to be the largest ticker tape parade ever. Why? Because if you listen to me, you would understand and learn, because you know nothing about sports in this town, that even though there are more Yankee fans and Met fans, and I'll be with Randy Levine at Yankee Stadium tonight as the Bombers host the Chicago White Sox, even though there are more Yankee fans and Met fans, they still split the city. Even though there are more Giant fans than Jet fans, they still split the city. There are no Net fans. When I say none, they may be able to fill up the Barclays Center occasionally, but the Knicks own the city. Just about every basketball fan in this city is a Knicks fan. So if you're going to get 2+ million for the Yanks, all those Met fans hate every second of it. You don't got to be a genius to figure out you're going to get somewhere between 3 and 4 million tomorrow for the Knicks because they own the city. Even the Rangers and Islanders split the city. More Ranger fans, certainly, but they split the city. There is no split in basketball. The Nets barely exist. So we're going to have this huge parade tomorrow on this big deal at City Hall, and Mamdani singing New York, New York. How nauseating was that? Come on. I mean, that was really hard to listen to with his stupid smile. And he's going to give out some public lottery, and 600 Knicks fans are going to be able to attend the ceremony, which is cool, I guess, saying, hey, the Knicks run was great, but how about the fans? It's all fun. Listen, it's all great. But now that they have won it, and that's what I care about, the sports aspect of this. I've seen the stories about Rick Brunson, and my God, if I hear one more person tell me that Jalen Brunson is married to a Jewish girl, I'm on the way to Israel tomorrow. Tomorrow morning, about this time, I'll be heading towards Kennedy Airport. I'm well aware that Jalen Brunson is married to a Jewish girl, or seeing his mom or Kat and his family. And so now we won this thing on Saturday night in Texas. Now it's Wednesday, and I'm not going to go maybe as far as I don't care anymore, like Phil Collins said, but I'm getting close. They're on every damn show. One day alone in New York, the Knicks were on the Today Show. Then the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon. Then they did like what J.D. Vance did yesterday. You heard a bunch of J.D. Vance in the open. That was all from The View, courtesy of Channel 7, with those hags, those disgusting, vile, insufferable hags yelling in the background, all of them, Anna Navarro and Joy Behar and Whoopi Goldberg and Sonny Hostin. Shut up, ladies. He's the Vice President of the United States, and you're a bunch of dingbats. Shut up. But every cut we played, they're telling him what's going on. No. Trump and Epstein were best friends. No, they weren't. They're friends. They knew each other. No. So J.D. Vance did yesterday what the Knicks have been doing for like the whole week, and I was sick of J.D. yesterday. He was on with The View. He was on with Megyn Kelly. He was on with The Five on Fox. He did every show all over New York except for one. You want to take a guess what show he missed yesterday, no?
Was it the Z100 Morning Zoo, Elvis Duran?
Very good. He did not do Elvis Duran. I don't think Elvis Duran wanted him.
Was it 104.3 with
Jim Kerr?
Jim Kerr, yeah.
Yeah. I don't think Jim Kerr wanted him. Mm-hmm.
Was it you?
Could have been me. Huh. I spoke to somebody at the White House yesterday. That's all I'm going to say. And they said, well, he doesn't really do radio. I mean, that's your answer? He doesn't really do radio? His boss, the president, he's been on this show, 8 times? I don't know, 9 times.
Yeah.
He may be mad at me now, President Trump, because I'm kind of on the same plane as Nikki Haley, Mark Levin, and a host of others, which is this Iran deal looks yucky, to say the least. Yucky. Even though J.D. Vance said there's no money going to Iran, not a single penny. And I don't really believe that. I want to see the deal like everybody else does. Not because, like Chuck Schumer and these idiots, I think that we're doing something evil here. I just need to know exactly what we're doing before I can really opine on how bad, well, maybe good, I doubt it, but how bad this deal is. Because what I know so far, it's bad. And the money thing, we may not be giving them money right away, but I've been told for days that we're aware of other Arab countries giving Iran a lot of money. A lot of money. We're aware of it. And we're going to allow Iran to start selling oil right away. These are not good things for us because as soon as Iran makes money, as we've said 1 billion times this week, they don't build hospitals. They don't build new schools. They fund their nuclear program and their terror proxies. That's what they do. So any way that Iran starts loosening their significant economic sanctions and restrictions is bad for the rest of the world. Oh, Bobby Hartman, Jack Senney tells me he was also on Gutfeld last night. So I guess the point I was trying to make was that they overplay these songs. They play these songs to death, and people get tired of it. And I'm just about tired of this whole Knick thing. And I love the Knicks. I do watch Knick basketball in October, in November, in December. Most of you don't. Corey Zelnick, yeah, he does. He's at the games. But I'm telling you, the majority of these fans that have gone wild in New York, wild, outside, inside, they are not watching the Knicks and the Memphis Grizzlies in December. I am. I am. But it's getting overplayed like Stairway to Heaven. Every day, all day. I am looking forward today, though. This is a great guest. He's been on a bunch of shows already, so it's not a Sid Rosenberg exclusive. But I've been friends with this guy for many, many years, dating back to his days when he was the head basketball coach at Hofstra University. He then went on to replace Steve Lapis at Villanova. He spent 21 years at Villanova, won 2 national championships, made it to 4 Final Fours, Coach of the Year twice. The very handsome Jay Wright will be on this show today. And, of course, I think you guys know that 3 Knick champions this year played for Jay Wright. Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, and Mikal Bridges. In fact, they were on the team at the same time. And at one point, before we made the trade to Minnesota to get Cat, we sent Julius Randle and DiVincenzo to Minnesota. DiVincenzo was on those two championship teams. Hart was only on one of them, but DiVincenzo, Brunson, and Bridges were on both. And we will talk to the man that coached them all, the great Jay Wright, coming up at about 8 o'clock this morning. It's a big guest. I believe tomorrow on the program, you're going to hear from Marv Albert. Well, how about that, no?
That's pretty cool.
We had Mike Breen on a couple of weeks ago. Now you'll hear from Marv tomorrow, Jay Wright today. So we're doing the Knicks stuff, but we're talking basketball, you know. The Today Show and Jimmy Fallon, they like getting caught up in mom and dad and all that cute stuff. It just gets, after a while. I mean, I guess I shouldn't talk because I did plan this morning on talking about my son Gabriel's first game at the St. Francis Summer League last night. And much like the Brunsons, here I go. See, I'm a hypocrite. Much like Rick Brunson, assistant coach, Jalen Brunson, superstar for the Knicks, on the court last night. And we didn't start till about 8:35 because the game before us went into quadruple overtime. You had the coach, Sid Rosenberg, and the player, Gabriel Martin Atticus Rosenberg. And we won. And Gaby did a very good job for coach, his dad coming off the bench. We had 8 guys out there last night. Got a nice team. This is my 3rd year of coaching in this league. And Bert was there last night, and Bugsy, and Eric, my man from Jameson's, doesn't own it anymore, but he was there last night coaching against me. We got Michael, we've got Ronan, we've got Jamie, we've got Ty, we've got Ryan. I love this kid, Ryan. And then off the bench, I had Henry, Gaby's little friend Will, a.k.a. Burf, who won a big game, 10 points off the bench for Burf. Hit a couple of threes for me in the second half. And my son, and my assistant coach, who's great, Ryan Moran. So we are 1-0. We won big last night. I will not be there for the next game, which is a week from last night. I'll still be in Israel. But I'll be back for every game after that. But the Knick thing is, it gets a lot. And to see the mayor with his dopey smile and singing New York, New York, like he's a real New Yorker and a real Knick fan. I'm sorry. I know he's the mayor. That is a very lofty position. But to me, Sid Rosenberg, and maybe you feel differently, that's fine. To me, there's nothing New York about Mamdani. Nothing. I don't care how many times he says he loves the Knicks or he loves the Mets or how excited he is to give the keys tomorrow to the Knicks players. The political side of this has ruined it for me just a little bit. Now, I know a lot of you say, well, you can't do that, Sid. You gotta separate the two. You did the same thing with the Mets, and now you're a Yankee fan because of Mamdani. Yeah, I am. Yes, I am. I went to one Met game. Steve Cohen could not have been nicer. He really was lovely. He had me, Bill O'Reilly, my son Gabriel in the box. He was great. Great. But the Mets lost that night, like they lose every night. Lost again to Cincinnati yesterday. I don't like any of the players on the Met team, not one. There's not one guy I can say, I love that guy. Like I loved Mookie Wilson. I loved Lenny Dykstra. I loved Wally Backman. I loved Darryl. I loved Keith. I loved Gary. There's nobody on this team I like. Nobody. Juan Soto's a great player. Can't stand him. Francisco Lindor, I mean, really? His wife works for Mamdani. Ugh, he disgusts me. All the guys I like are playing someplace else. So I'm sticking with the Yanks. Randy Levine is a mensch. I love him. Can't wait to see him in his box later on tonight. So I do allow politics to win it for me because, guess what, folks? This is what I do for a living. I'm not taking phone calls from Sammy in Brooklyn and John in Massapequa on the fan. I have no obligation to stick with anything. And the truth is, I became a Met fan because my grandpa Meyer, who lived in Trump Village in Coney Island, and my dad Harvey, who I miss desperately, they were Brooklyn Dodger fans. And when the Dodgers left in 1957, they were never going to root for the Yanks. So when the Dodgers and Giants left in 57, They hopped on the Met bandwagon in 62. And that's why I became a Met fan, because of my dad. Well, my dad's dead. So that's the end of that. And I don't think my dad would be upset if I abandoned the Mets because some radical Islam, America-hating, Jew-hating mayor goes on about how much he loves that baseball team. It makes me nauseous. So watching him sing New York, New York made me nauseous. So he's ruined for me just a little, him and the governor. And you guys get mad? I don't care if you get mad. What, are you kidding me? I mean, nothing sounds more childish than no matter what happens in the world, I root for my team. There is nothing more childish than that. At some point, you got to grow up, okay? I love sports more than most of you. I did it for a living. At every major sports station around the country. You know, I only worked at WFAN regularly. I filled in for many, many years. 18 years I filled in. I miss WFAN. You know, my actual daily stay at WFAN was less than 5 years. Less than 5 years. And when they talk about the all-time greats at the Fan, I'm not going to be ridiculous enough to compare myself to Mike and the Mad Dog or Imus. But after those guys, I'm right there. Whether it's Beningo or Steve Summers, I'm right there in less than 5 years. That's the impact I made. And don't forget, I owned a lot of real estate on that station. I was doing the sports on Imus every morning. I was hosting the midday show twice. One with Jody McDonald, one with Joe Beningo, and I was doing the pregame show for the football Giants with 10,000 people at Gate D at Giant Stadium every Sunday. So it was a big deal. I love sports, and I enjoyed my time at FAN. But things have changed for me now. Sports is not all that matters. It's a great release. It's fun. But what matters to me is my city and my country. And I can't just separate the two like a lot of you can because you think that's what the Torah says or the Bible says. You can separate the two. I can't. So I guess what I'm saying is I'm happy the parade is tomorrow and this ceremony is tomorrow. And let's just get it over with and burn down the city. Do what you got to do. I won't be here anyway. And move on. How does that sound, Noam?
Can you imagine if you were back at the Fan? So the game ended like 11:30 Saturday night.
Yeah.
So now Monday you talk about it. Okay, that's exciting. You talk about, you get into depth.
Sure.
Now you got to go into Tuesday. You still got to talk about it because the parade's not till Thursday.
Oh, I know.
Here we are Wednesday. If you tune into the Fan right now,
that's all
they're still talking about the Knicks. Then they got to do it again tomorrow for the parade. I'm already sick of seeing the Knicks. I sat down to watch. I sat down to watch the World Cup yesterday, the France Senegal game, because I was like, "Oh, this is at MetLife Stadium. Let me watch it." The first thing they show is a bunch of the Knicks in the front row at the stadium. So they're everywhere.
That's Stairway to Heaven.
It is
Stairway to Heaven. The Knicks have become Stairway to Heaven.
It's not just that; it's that they're all asking the same question.
They don't know anything. They don't know anything. They ask about mom and dad, and you're right.
We know Rick Brunson. We know. We know.
You think Jimmy Fallon's going to break down basketball with these guys?
But he goes to the games.
Sometimes he does, but he's too busy dancing in the blue seats with Justin Timberlake.
I guess.
Doing the old booty dance.
Like one question about the Spurs. One. What do you think of Wembanyama? What did you think of going up against them?
That's part of the reason why I got out of sports talk radio. And I date all the way back to, I guess it was about 2014. I don't remember the exact day, but the Dolphins had just played the Buffalo Bills. I was in South Florida. The big win over Buffalo, you know. And I got on the air that, whatever day it was, I forget the days now, maybe Monday, I don't know. And I was so distraught and so sad and so upset about what I witnessed in Paris, France, when ISIS went berserk that one day, started murdering people sitting outside at a cafe. You remember that? Just shooting them. The soccer stadium. This is when Geraldo Rivera finally woke up about Barack Obama. They bombed the soccer stadium. And then the worst of all was they went inside that amphitheater where they had that concert and wiped out about 300 people. And I remember Barack Obama coming on the air on television, and it seemed like he was more worried about how Americans would treat their Muslim neighbors than he was angry about what just happened. And I was like, I can't take this anymore. What is going on with my country? I was still doing sports in Florida. You want to talk about tough? I had to talk about the Dolphins, the Heat. I hate the Heat. I hate the Miami Heat. I used to go to those Heat games. Every idiot inside that arena wearing a white T-shirt. They had LeBron James and Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh. Everybody was a superstar on that team. The guys coming off the bench were all-stars. Pat Riley put together a great club for Eric Spoelstra. And I was still a Knicks fan. So me, Danielle, little Ava, little Gaby would show up at the arena, wearing our Carmelo Anthony jerseys, and we get cursed at for 3 hours. I hated it. So I wasn't really having fun to begin with. But then all this political stuff started going on, terrorist attacks and elections. And the next thing you know, my show was like this show, like you're listening to right now. The difference is that here in New York, they love it. Well, it's not a difference. By the way, they loved it in Florida, too. I got great ratings. Great ratings. Because my boss actually came to me and said, what are you doing? Called me in his office. I'll never forget it. He said, Joe Rose, who was a tight end for the Dolphins for a long time, he actually caught Dan Marino's first ever touchdown pass. He's been doing radio and TV down there for like 40 years. He's like, Joe Rose has Wes Welker on today, and you're talking about Obama. I said, yeah. I said, because I'm a 40-something-year-old guy. I've got 2 little kids. At the time, Gabe and Ava were both about under 7 years old. I said, I love sports. I'm interested in my teams winning, but I think every guy out there my age, this demographic, 25 to 54, with families, are worried about the future of the damn world. And if the Dolphins lose to the Buffalo Bills, we'll survive. But if ISIS comes to America, we're all going to effing die. And I got crazy, and I said, if you want Joe Rose, go hire Joe Rose. This is what I'm doing. He said, well, you don't order Chinese food in an Italian restaurant. I said, when did I ever say to you I'm an Italian restaurant? You know what I am? I'm BJ's. I'm Sam's Club. You can walk into my place and get everything. Sports, politics, just like I do here. Right? Just like I do here. This is the greatest ratings run for the morning show here since, I don't know, I think ever. Me and Bernard didn't have nearly this success because we're doing more of the other stuff now, sports, lifestyle, all that fun stuff. We didn't do that before. I said, I'm Sam's Club, I'm BJ's. I never promised you an Italian restaurant. He said, well, I'll tell you what, you have a year. And if over the next year the ratings aren't great, bye-bye. I said, you got it. And the ratings were great. Well, of course they were. Just like the ratings were terrific for this show. People talk about my competition across the street. Curtis Sliwa should retire because his ratings across the street are every bit as bad as his percentage was when he ran for mayor. Oh. I'm dead serious. They can't get, if they get a 2, they had a good week. I'm in the 5s when you add WLIR, some weeks in the 6s, but at the very least a 5-2 when you add Long Island, which carries all 4 hours. He's lucky to get a 2. There's no competition. Sorry, Alan Snipman, he's not on my heels, not even close. No one ever is. Ever. So, here's where we are now. The parade is tomorrow, and then hopefully at that point we can get back to real basketball and start to figure out if the Knicks can do it again. Because last I checked, going into next season, I believe the Knicks are the fourth best favorite to win it again, behind teams like San Antonio, and they are going to be great for a long time. Oklahoma City, I forget the third. But the Knicks are not favored to win the championship again next year, and I agree with that. And that's what I want to hear. You know, the rest of this stuff to me is, you got, again, a lot of fans who are not really fans that bought a jersey and are now acting as if. I mean, I went to Adrian's. Lou, you were there Saturday night. And at the bar at Adrian's, and they do a great job there. Marty Feeney and Leo and Chris, they're all great. Saw Pete Gotti there again Saturday night. I saw him at Mateo's and Howard Beach a couple of weeks ago. He's a terrific guy. His friend Jamie. You saw up against the wall on the right side, there ought to be 25, I'm not exaggerating, 25 young girls from Broad Channel, cute young girls. Maybe they were 19, 20 years old, a little older than Gabriel, walking in with their Knick jerseys tied in a bow so their belly button's showing. You think they have any idea what the Knicks did in January or February? No idea. So I get it's a big party and everybody is enjoying it, and that's good for New York. But as a real sports guy, now I'm annoyed. Well, not now. I was annoyed a couple of... Well,
no, you're annoyed.
I get annoyed a lot, you know. I don't...
You're annoyed.
I'm annoyed.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
So just get this stupid, the smiling mayor, this jack-off, get it over with, and let's just move on, okay? Get ready for Giant training camp. What do you think, Noam?
Yeah, we should have just done the parade like Monday.
I know. It's like when a person dies, you got to wait 5 days for the funeral. Just put the damn body in the ground and let's go.
Right. It would have been much more exciting on Monday. Now I'm like, oh, it's Thursday. It's
too much.
I mean, I don't even remember the game.
Shut up already.
Now you want to get it over with.
Yeah.
That's how you feel.
Yeah, exactly.
You want to okay, please, let's go. Get the whole thing. And it's going to be a complete loony bin tomorrow.
I'm going to say today what I said yesterday. Right. Somebody, if not more than somebody, because that's singular, I'm afraid to go plural, somebody is going to die tomorrow. Here in New York, I mean, not obviously a lot of people are going to die. Somebody will die in New York tomorrow because there's just so much that Jessica Tisch and the cops who have no power, who are not able to defend. You know, the cops these days are like the Israelis. You know, President Trump, my guy President Trump, who is, you know what, listen, I get it. I was talking to somebody yesterday, and they said part of the reason why they think President Trump has been so hard on Bibi, like over the top hard, making a lot of Jews very angry, is because he got sick and tired of looking at all the memes and hearing for months that this is Bibi's war. Curtis said it. This is Bibi's war. It's Israel's war. And basically, Bibi is walking Trump around like a dog. And all the anti-Semites and all the Tucker Carlsons and Megyn Kellys, they've been saying the same thing. This is not America's war. We did this for Bibi and Israel. So Trump, I think, is at the point where he's sick of hearing that. So now he's going to beat the living daylights out of Bibi just to prove to everybody that he's the boss. And Bibi's not going to fight it back for two reasons. First of all, he's a statesman. He wouldn't do that. And second of all, he's running for reelection. But I really believe part of the reason why, I think this person was right, that Trump has been really over the top is to show his dominance. Because you know President Trump, he doesn't want to stand behind anybody. Let me prove to you I'm the man, not Bibi, by calling Bibi irresponsible and an asshole at every opportunity. I really believe that. You know? And the cops in New York, it's the same thing. No protection. You know? The way the people talk about the cops, the way the politicians talk about the cops, the way the mayor, this disgusting animal, the way he talks about the cops. So I'm making an analogy right now, and it makes sense, between Bibi and Israel and the cops. Bibi is not allowed to defend himself. Israel is not allowed to defend themselves. When they do against Hezbollah, Trump says they're irresponsible, they're killing too many people, and they may ruin his beautiful Iran deal. So don't defend yourself. Cop gets punched in the face, gets spit in the face, is called a dirty pig, and the cop can't do anything about it. They can't defend themselves. So do you like this Israel cop analogy, Noam?
It's interesting.
Neither one of them are allowed to defend themselves. Neither one. And both of them should be allowed to do whatever the F they want. You bomb me, if I bomb you twice. I mean, think about this. Trump is saying the retaliation is too much. I mean, one of the reasons why we love President Trump, and we said this for years, is if you punch Trump across the face, get ready to get knocked out, right? That's the whole thing with Trump. He's going to hit you harder, right? That's what Bibi does. You attack Israel, yeah, he's going to stick it up your ass. As he should. But he can't do it. The cops can't do it. So tomorrow could be a bag of tricks. Here's Lisa G. She checks in. She says, good morning. Mamdani has been trying to use the Knicks from the beginning to his benefit. His campaign superimposed Zoran over a Knicks logo in an ad that resulted in a cease and desist letter.
Yeah, that was a while ago.
Yeah.
Yes.
His video team knew copying the feel of the Knicks fans would work in his favor. And Michael Henry, who I like a lot, He ran for AG last time against Letitia. He's not running this time. Saritha is. She's good, too. He says, Jimmy Fallon doing the booty dance with Justin Timberlake. Ha, ha, ha. You're actually funnier than Jimmy Fallon. They should make you the Tonight Show host. No thanks. But thank you. Could you imagine that fight every night?
Oh, my. Kissing those celebrities behind. Yeah.
Well, $5 million. I'd have to figure it out.
Maybe you would do that.
Figure it out, yeah.
Sure, there's a way.
I don't know. I guess I could figure it out. Yeah. But if I have to say nice things about these Democrats, like, could you imagine that? You got to rip Trump and say, and listen, I'm not all that happy with Trump these days. I say it on the air, make it back to him, but I still love him. But you know what they do? They cut the tape when all they play is, you hear Sid today say he's not happy with Trump. No, I still think he's the best president, the best. There's nobody in the world I'd rather have in that seat on Pennsylvania Avenue than President Trump. He's only done 1,000 great things since he's won again. But this Iran thing and the way he's treating Israel, because, again, I really think that he wants to show the world he's the boss, I'm not thrilled with. And neither are you, are you? And neither is Mark Levin and a host of other
Well, yesterday I heard the president talking about, he was bashing Bibi, and then at the same time he was praising the leaders of Syria.
I know.
For their restraint.
He actually said, this is where he really pissed me off, too. If Israel can't do it, Syria can.
Yeah.
What? If Israel can't do it, Syria can? And I got my friends telling me, Sid, lay off. Lay off. He knows what he's doing. He's playing chess. I love that one. He's playing chess. The Titanic could be sinking. People could be drowning and dying in the water, and you're going to hear the captain, who died too, he's just playing chess. Maybe he is. I hope so. For our country's sake and for his legacy, because I love President Trump, I hope he's playing chess. And I'm just a checkers player. Not all that smart. But I just don't see it. I just don't see it. And neither do you folks who keep saying that, because if you were smarter, you'd be able to tell me why he's doing what he's doing rather than just vomiting out he's playing chess. When somebody tells you that, they have no idea what's going on. No idea. They're putting their faith in President Trump. Well, so am I. Do I have a choice? Is there somebody else? And Hillary Clinton, I mean, who was she kidding? She made a statement. I played it. It was some New Yorker interview, I guess, Remnick. I don't know who the guy's name is. It doesn't matter. She actually had a lot of truths in the statement that she made, but there was one that, not being so truthful, this is Hillary a couple of days ago, saying it was a terrible mistake by President Biden to decide, after saying he wouldn't do it, to run for re-election. But in the middle of this statement is where she comes off like a moron. This is Hillary Clinton, Lewis, cut number 9.
He made a terrible mistake. He made a terrible mistake for himself, his legacy, and for the country.
Legacy.
He had said that he would not run again. And, counterfactual narratives are always a bit tricky. But I believe if he had kept to that plan and said in, say, the late summer of 23 that he wasn't going to run, that he was going to pass, the torch to the next generation, we would have had a real contest. And very sadly, I believe whoever emerged from that contest, whether it was the vice president or a governor or a senator or anybody else, would have beaten Donald Trump.
Now, shut up, you're stupid. Shut up. That's why she's stupid, okay? No. None of those people were going to beat Donald Trump, no matter how you did it, because the country watched Joe Biden and the Democrat Party ruin our country and ruin our reputation around the world. And both Democrats and independents found out that they missed Trump. They missed him. It wouldn't have mattered. Biden could have quit. You could have had months and months of Tim Walz or Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris is stupid. Hillary, get it through your thick skull. She's stupid. Nobody cares that she's got a vagina. Great, she's got a vagina, and she's black. Oh, my God, those are 2 boxes right there. Then she speaks. She's a moron. A moron.
Now, Hillary was which one again? Hillary
So when you combine the fact that, thank you, Lou.
You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm doing? You see that?
That she's so stupid and the country really did miss Trump, it wasn't going to matter what the Democrats did. Now the question becomes, have the tables been reversed? Now that we got Trump back and it was magnificent, and I'm happy, but now is the country starting to go sideways? With the economy still not great, let's have an honest conversation. Gas and oil prices will start to come down now once this deal is done, but did we sell our soul to the devil to get this deal done? And there are some Republicans who feel that's the case too, certainly many Israelis and Jews. So now, did they turn back the other way? I don't know. I hope not. Because if we lose these midterms in November, the country is just about finished. It's finished. You know, J.D. Vance, again, he was all over the place yesterday promoting his book about Jesus. He's fine. You know, he's 1,000 times better than any Democrat running 1,000 times. He's not as good as Marco Rubio, but he's good. Good speaker, and he's great on a debate stage, and now he's got experience as a vice president. Senator, he's got plenty of experience in D.C. He's good. Again, given the choice between him and Rubio, I don't think it's close. And I've been saying that before anybody. Right, guys? For like a year, I've been saying Rubio needs to be next. But if we lose these midterms in November, and this is why this deal is getting done this Friday, because the truth is we haven't won the war. Not even close. We accomplished nothing. We put everything back to where it was before. No more naval blockade. There was no naval blockade before Epic Fury. The Strait will be open. Well, the Strait was open before Epic Fury. You know? And now we'll spend 60 to 90 days, one big circle jerk with these Arabs who are going to lie every step of the way and sign a piece of paper you can wipe your ass with. I mean, this is, for any smart person, this is a joke. But Trump has to do it, or you've just about given away the midterms. I get all that. So this is a serious time. It's a very serious time. But the good news is we've got the Knicks, and they'll be on 9 TV shows today. You have the Knicks scheduled for today? No?
I'm sure I could find it for you. For sure, it involves a lot more TV appearances.
You think so?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. What else could they possibly do?
Well, they got the afternoon stupid talk shows, maybe.
Which ones? Were they on The View, the Knicks?
One of them was on
Brunson was.
Yeah.
Brunson was on The View?
Yes, he was on The View.
It
was great. Sonny hosting, jumping off and hugging him. You really would have gotten sick. I'm glad you didn't.
I'm glad I didn't say it, yeah.
It's a good thing.
All right, we got a big show coming up. A lot of great guests. That was a 56-minute opening segment. Hope you enjoyed it. Coming up, Rich Lowry's going to be here today, the amazing editor of the National Review. We're going to talk to Bruce Blakeman, hopefully our next governor, Peter King, Scott Lebedo, and also former basketball coach at Villanova. Yes, he coached Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges, and Josh Hart to a college basketball championship. He knows those guys very, very well.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Next Thursday, June 25th, and I'm coming back late Wednesday night into Thursday morning, so the day before the day you're talking about, next Thursday, June 25th, marks my 34-year wedding anniversary to the beautiful Danielle.
Well, you could celebrate it on Friday at the Rock in Newark because it's Barry Manilow's farewell concert in Newark on Friday night.
No, oh my God.
Really?
Yeah.
I've got dinner plans at a very fancy French place. Thanks to Anthony Caron set me up there, but Barry at the Rock?
Yes.
I don't know. I don't really like Newark, New Jersey. That's a problem.
Well, you just, ferry in and ferry out on the car service.
Sorry, Joe Nolan. I know he's listening, goes after those stupid devil games, but it's a horrible place. Terrible.
Final show, though. You won't be able to see him in our area ever again.
What do you mean? He's
on a goodbye tour.
He's not going to Madison Square Garden?
Well, remember, he fought lung cancer, so he's doing good enough that he can sing at least at this show, but we don't know what's going to happen in the future. 83 years old.
No, you're right. Well, maybe, I don't know, but it's not my own anniversary. It's Danielle's too.
Does she like Barry? Does she like Barry Manilow?
She likes him, but she's normal.
Right.
No,
I'm retarded. I go, it looks like we made it. I start freaking out.
Oh, no.
Well, Lou said at about 5:45 this morning, he came up to me and he said, "Don't worry, Sid's going to be in a great mood today." And I said, "Why?" And he said, "Because it's Barry Manilow's birthday and I'm going to play his music all morning long."
Lou's so cute.
I told them both.
He knows. If you play like 3 or 4 Barry Manilow songs, because tomorrow, I'm going to tell you guys right now, I got a great show for you tomorrow. Bill O'Reilly, Marv Albert, 4 or 5, maybe 6 great guests, but I'm really not going to be here because I'm leaving for Israel. So I'm doing a lot of those interviews today. It's not going to matter. You're going to hear it tomorrow as if it's live, discussing all the major stories, including that parade. So I'm on my way out of here. So today is really the last day you're going to get me live for the show. And I was not in a very good mood because I woke up this morning and I'm sick of the Knicks and the stupid parade and I hate the mayor. And I started putting together a list in my head of people I hate, and it was too many people. Like I had Michael Lasher, I hate him, and Brad Lander, I hate him, and it went on and on. So Barry just saved it. Literally, Barry Manilow just saved the day.
Wow. I don't think he realizes the power he can wield.
I don't think so either. I'm sick of the Knicks. That's my favorite team. I actually follow them all day, all year, I should say. Every game, all year, I actually do follow them, unlike the majority of these front-running New York fans. And they've aggravated me now, so.
It's amazing. After 50, they win in 53 years.
Yeah.
And now it's still
4 days later, I'm aggravated.
You hate them.
I almost wish they lost. I got to see the mayor at a parade tomorrow giving the keys to the city to basketball players in America like he really cares. The owner of the Knicks himself, Jim Dolan, said, "Mom, Donnie's not a Knicks fan." Oh, but Whoopi Goldberg said he is. Oh, who's going to argue with Whoopi? Come on.
Of course not.
Right. Or all those disgusting city council members, all of them, 46 lunatics, they said he loves them. Well, then, who could argue that?
It's not the team at all. It's all of the outside things
I hate all of it. Right.
That makes you hate it.
You know, I swear to God, I used to do sports, and this is where I met Lewis, for this radio host. His name was Don Imus. And we're at WFAN. That's a sports station. So people came to work in jerseys, grown adults.
No, it was really...
I was one of them. My Piazza jersey, my Eli Manning jersey, Eddie Scazzeri wearing Dolphins, Dave Bunzel wearing some crazy soccer player.
Oh, it was a pool of lunacy.
Yeah,
it was really insane to watch.
Oh, my God.
It was really nuts.
And we loved it because we're at a sports station, the biggest and baddest one, of course. And, we're talking sports all day. And the I-Man would come on, and he would make fun of all of it. And I would get so aggravated with the I-Man. Like, what's wrong with you? We're having a great time. He was right. We were never having a great time. We're a bunch of losers. A bunch of real losers. We thought we were having a really good time, but, when you're popping on the air every 30 minutes to give 3 baseball scores and 1 major sports story, and then you go back into the newsroom and sit there for 30 minutes looking at porn, maybe the I-Man had a point. And I say it again, not because Wyatt is listening, he probably is, or gets back to Deirdre, but as I near 60 years old, I'm starting to sound and believe what the I-Man said all those years. Like, I look at all these people celebrating in New York, and some are great Knicks fans. I'm sure Corey Zelnick will be out there tomorrow. But I look at them, I go, what a bunch of losers. So,
because most of them are not fans.
Well, I know, but the I-Man would point that out, and I'd be like, what's wrong with him? Why can't he just have a good time and enjoy it,
Well, then look at the...
But I'm the same way now. I'm annoyed.
Because of the rioting you saw.
Well, just everything. The mayor, even without the rioting, once the mayor jumped out, he's wearing a John Starks jersey. You think he knows anything about John Starks?
No.
You think he knows that the Knicks traded John Starks to Golden State in the Latrell Sprewell deal? You think he knows that?
No.
Of course not. No. You think he knows that John Starks had a big Game 6 against the Rockets before he completely fell apart in Game 7? Think he knows that?
No idea.
Yeah, so? I can't stand any of it.
You want to feel worse about it? I saw the governor. This was great. I saw the governor yesterday, Governor Hochul.
Oh, God.
And so they were asking her. They said, are you going to be at the parade? They said, are you going to be at the parade tomorrow? And her answer was, I wouldn't miss it. And I was thinking to myself, she's the one who said they won the world championship back in 1993. So of course she wouldn't miss it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, for her, it's only been 30 years.
It hasn't been as long.
Yeah,
she
really
didn't miss
53. It's only been 30 for Kathy.
She didn't miss that one, so
No.
she's going to make this one.
Right.
She did that repulsive video last week with Adrian Adams, the former Speaker of the City Council. I had forgotten that she made Adrian Adams a lieutenant governor.
Yeah.
Oh, God, you want to talk about bad porn. Kathy Hochul and Adrian Adams. I mean, if that's not a reason to be celibate the rest of your life.
That might empty the party, get the people out that you want to watch.
You want to go into the priesthood? Just watch Hochul and Adams do that video together.
Tomorrow morning is knocking. Stock your fridge now. How about a creamy mocha frappuccino drink? Or a sweet vanilla? Smooth caramel, maybe? Or a white chocolate mocha? Whichever you choose, delicious coffee awaits. Find Starbucks Frappuccino drinks wherever you buy your groceries.
This episode is brought to you by Credit Karma. When it comes to your money, Credit Karma keeps you ahead of the game. You can count on Credit Karma to keep up with your financial needs as they evolve, helping you monitor your progress and giving you personalized recommendations so you can make strides towards your goals. Make sure you're on the right track, no matter where you are on your financial journey. Intuit Credit Karma. Karma you can count on. Download today.
Have no fear, Chosen Foods is here to defend your favorite foods from the forces of seedy oils and sketchy ingredients. With cooking oils, salad dressings, and mayo, all powered by the good fats from 100% pure avocado oil and simple, delicious ingredients. Chosen Foods.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
I have not been following the World Cup all that closely. I cared about us. We won 4-1, beat Paraguay. We'll play Australia on Friday in Seattle. I'll be in Tel Aviv. But I did see Messi. Argentina beating Algiers yesterday 3-1, and Lionel Messi, the greatest player ever, the hat trick. He scored all 3 goals. It's a big deal.
Yeah. It was, I didn't see a second of it.
No, I didn't either.
I didn't even know he was playing.
Well, I did know. I also know Iran was playing. And if you had Iran, as Warner Wolf would say, plus 2.5 goals yesterday, you lost. They lost 4-1. Rich Lowry is the editor of the National Review. I love Rich. He's on this show every week. And he kicks off our guest list on this important Wednesday morning. Rich, how are you, buddy?
Good, Sydney. How are you?
I'm good. I want to read this to you. This is a lady. Her name is Karen. I'm not going to give away her last name. She may not want me to. But she is a big, big fan of the show. Loves me and DMs me on Instagram quite a bit. Nice Jewish lady. And she texts me at 6:55 a.m., Sid, thank you for supporting Israel. But it might be time to stop saying Trump is the best president ever. If this disaster goes through, which it looks like it is, this is bad. He will have sold out the United States to Qatar, not to mention completely screwing Israel, selling his soul to the devil. This will be Trump's ultimate legacy. He's not the only one. Your friend Megyn Kelly is probably happy these days, and plus she interviewed J.D. Vance yesterday. But Mark Levine is saying a lot that sounds like that. So am I. So what do you think is the deal with this Iran deal? And to me, it looks like a lot of the big Trump supporters in America and Israel are going sideways.
I think it's bad. It's disappointing, but I'm not as shocked and outraged as some of my hawkish friends because I don't think we won the war. I think the basic problem was, as you've put it, for weeks and weeks now, he was stuck. So when you're stuck and you need to get out, it's not going to be pretty the way you get out.
So you see, I'm the only one to use that word for weeks and weeks, and some people got offended by that, but you're good at, and how you look back in retrospect, I was right, wasn't I?
Yeah,
Stuck.
Totally true. Totally true. So we didn't win the war because we couldn't take the Strait back from them. Now we kind of vitiated their hold on the Strait somewhat with this escorting that was going on, which is good, but it wasn't anything like the pre-war level. And you just can't go into the height of the summer driving season with gas above $5, which is what we're probably looking at because reserves were beginning to go low that had provided the cushion, so that closure of the Strait wasn't so bad, at least here. So you had to trade the blockade for the Strait, and then you paid them in effect also for opening the Strait, which wasn't great, with these renewed oil sales. Now, I think if you look at the memorandum that's been floating around that seems like it's accurate, the first read, it is horrifying. $300 billion. What? We're giving it what? We're ending sanctions. And then you look at it with sort of a lawyer's eye. Nothing else is agreed to. Nothing else is agreed to. It could be agreed to, and it could be really bad, but everything's pending a final agreement. Everything's pending progress, whatever that means. Everything's pending a plan, that we haven't seen yet. So I think the worst of this could be yet to come, but may never happen. And I'm kind of guessing that the latter might be the case. So we've reopened the Strait by letting them sell oil and trading the blockade. Not great to let them sell oil again, but some of the things people are most exercised about, I'm not sure they're actually going to happen.
So let me explain this to the audience, because I think you may be right. If Rich Lowry is right, and those things don't happen, which does include loosening sanctions and money to Iran, unfreezing money down the road whenever they, I guess, based on merit, whatever that means, it's so dumb. If you're right, that means that the war is not over, and we are going to go back in there, once again with military force, because something happened where they didn't comply.
Yes, I'm not saying that. I don't think he'll go back in, but I'm just saying they may not get all those benefits because they may not provide concessions that we think are worthy of those benefits.
Well, that's the point. If they don't provide the concessions, see, here's my biggest issue with this deal. We'll get to some of the more specifics in a second. We get nothing. I mean, we took out the naval blockade. That wasn't there when the war started, okay? Mm-hmm. Okay, the Strait is open. So what? It was open before. I mean, really, when you look at this, you don't got to be a genius, okay? Everything gets put back right where it was before the war. That's what we get. So we get nothing, in essence. They still have their uranium. I mean, I had a yelling, screaming fight with Mike Lawler yesterday because he's like, we're going to get the dust. I go, really? Says who? What do you mean we're going to get the dust? That is so embedded in these mountains. I don't believe us, even the Israelis, know where all of it is. And there's no way in a billion years, even with the promise of money, that Iran's going to give it up. So if this is all about the dust and all about their nuclear program, you got to be a moron to think that Iran is going to give it up. And if they don't give it up, according to Trump, then it's a loss. No?
Well, so the big caveat, you're absolutely right about what you're saying, what's in the four corners of the deal. I don't think we're getting any major nuclear concessions in further negotiations in 60 days. It'll just be extended and extended and extended. So I think a lot of the sanctions relief won't happen and we won't get concessions. But the big thing that has happened, and is totally different from last year, is their nuclear program and infrastructure has been destroyed. If they want to start right now, they can't. So that's a major accomplishment that even people most distressed by this deal should.
Well, hold on. When you say destroyed, I hope you're right, because I fought for President Trump when he said that was the case after Midnight Hammer. Well, before Operation Epic Fury, I said he's right. So are you telling me that right now they're not able to enrich uranium? Because if they can do that, then they are still on the way to making nuclear bombs.
I don't think they can. I think the centrifuges have been destroyed. These things are so delicate. Yeah. You just hit a bomb near them, it puts them out of commission. So I don't think now they're going to reconstitute as quickly as they can, if they can. But I think today they just couldn't do it.
But what do you think they're going to be doing for the next 60 to 90 days while we have these ridiculous negotiations? No disrespect to Kushner or Witkoff or Trump or Vance, but these negotiations have gone nowhere. And if they end up with a signature on a piece of paper, ask Barack Obama and John Kerry how that went.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think you look at this, and if this all were to happen, they'd make various assurances, and we give them major sanctions relief and all that. It is a version of the JCPOA, but again, the difference is we bomb the hell out of them. We bomb the hell out of their program, and we set it back significantly. So I think that's the core achievement of what Trump did. That's what no one else did or was going to do.
Right.
And I think this deal is disappointing. I think having Lebanon in there is ridiculous. That's a diplomatic victory for Iran. I don't think that's going to hold.
Hold on. Now that you mentioned Lebanon, President Trump has been over the top and very disappointing. This is coming from me. You know how much I love him.
Sure.
And I think he still loves me. He may not after this, but he's been very disappointing in his criticism of Bibi. Now, I had a conversation with a buddy yesterday. He said, Sid, here's what I think. And I think he's right. Trump got sick and tired of hearing from all his detractors, this is Bibi's war. You saw the memes. They were everywhere of Bibi walking Trump on a leash. You heard people, even in this city like Curtis, say, this isn't America's war, it's Bibi's war. They've been saying that all over the world. Your friend Megyn Kelly says it. Tucker Carlson says it. All these people say it. And you know Trump, he doesn't like to play second fiddle to anyone. So he's taken this to heart, and now he feels like he's got to bash the living daylights out of Bibi, hoping Bibi will understand to prove his dominance and show that it's his war, he's in charge, and not Bibi. Now, this goes directly to the core of Trump's ego. What do you think about that?
Maybe. I'm sure he hates hearing that, but to me it looks a little bit like a larger version of what happened with Midnight Hammer. You know, we go in with the Israelis in effect, join an Israeli bombing campaign, which we'd never done before, and then by the end, when Trump wants it to end, he's saying Bibi doesn't know what the F he's doing, like in public. So this has been bigger and harsher than that, but I think it's just a similar dynamic. He was desperate for the deal. He didn't want anything to upset it. The Iranians were saying, well, we're not signing unless they stop bombing Hezbollah, and then so then Trump called them on the carpet. So,
but why should Israel stop bombing Hezbollah? I keep making this analogy, but it's true. You know, if some terrorist group arrived in Cincinnati at 6 o'clock on a Saturday morning on a holiday and started raping and murdering Americans, what do you think Trump's response would be? Or if after that they started bombing on a regular basis like they do now, Brooklyn or Sacramento. Totally. I mean, it's very easy for Trump to sit there and tell Bibi to take it up the ass because, truth be told, Trump's country, at least at this point, is not in danger. I don't think Trump is being fair. Bibi is trying to protect Israel from a group that is out to destroy him and continues to bomb Israel all the time. So what? So Bibi comes back harder? Doesn't President Trump do that?
Yeah. I totally agree. No.
And by the way, have you heard President Trump come out and say anything nasty about Erdogan or Mamdani? No, he goes out of his way to compliment Mamdani, Erdogan. Yesterday, he talked about the Iranian regime, the new one, and he said they're smart and a pleasure to deal with. So, the worst people in the world get complimented by Trump. He never attacks, any Arab leaders. But Bibi's a bad guy?
Yeah, totally agree. No society would tolerate what Israel is supposed to put up with terror groups to the north and the south that have hit Israel routinely. You know, if there's a terrorist group embedded in Michigan shelling Canada and making people leave from certain parts of Canada, Canada would freak out and bomb the hell out of Michigan. You know, any society would do that. So I totally agree with you. This is bad. And, it's also it's just not in Trump's nature to say, you know what, this is the best we could get. It's not a great deal. These people are awful. I want them to go away, but this is what we had to do, right? It always has to be the greatest deal ever. So he started the war out over-optimistic because that's the way he is, and now he's over-optimistic about the peace deal. And he may be different 3 months from now because that's also the way he is.
Well, he's got to win the midterm. So, and look, I was overly optimistic. I thought Epic Fury was great. I was all for going into Iran, but I want to finish. Well, Sid, that's easy for you to say. Your son is not in the military. That's true. My heart goes out to parents whose kids are fighting every day. They're brave, courageous, beautiful people. But they signed up. Last I checked, there is no draft, okay? And if you're going to start a war, which President Trump did, and I'm okay with it. In fact, I was happy with it. He was the first president to do something about it after every other one promised they would. He did it. Way to go, President Trump. You get an A+. But if you're going to start it, finish it. Is that asking so much?
Well, I mean, the problem is, part of the original sin here, he made no public case for the war. He didn't go and get congressional authorization, and it was unpopular from the start. So he was kind of limited politically. If you want to finish it, what does that mean? Are you going to end the regime? I mean, it's absolutely in our power to end the regime, but you'd have to send a couple divisions into Tehran.
So? I don't understand. And you got to send people, got to send boots on the ground, too, to really get inside the spots where they're enriching uranium. You can't take it out from the air. So, he knows that he's got to put boots on the ground to get it. He's expecting Iran to give it to us, which is so ridiculous. It's never going to happen. Even if they do, they'll give us just a little bit, just to make us happy.
I think the absolute red line for him, he was not putting guys on the ground and potentially losing
guys.
Then
you shouldn't have started this, because all you've done then the last couple of months, honestly, is waste time, a lot of money. Americans died, Israelis died, and all we're doing is putting things right back where they were before. Yes, the bombings did destroy their infrastructure. It did limit their nuclear capabilities, all that. But the truth is, we did not accomplish any of the major things we wanted to, did we?
Yeah, well, if you're going to go on the ground, though, you had to make a case for that ahead of time. You just can't do it kind of on a whim the way he did. So I think that's pretty close to the original sin of this thing. Again, I think it's a big achievement to have done what we did to the nuclear program, but I wouldn't have done this campaign the way he did. I don't think he'd do it this way in retrospect. And I think actually said the big thing, even though I supported it at the time, I thought it was great, was killing the Ayatollah. Because once you've done that, you've signaled to the Iranians, this is existential. You better do everything possible you can to make this as painful as possible for us and survive. So they closed the strait. Whereas the 12-day war, they didn't close the strait because they didn't think it was existential. So if you needed to wipe out some more manufacturing stuff or nuclear stuff, just signal to them, this is like the 12-day war, guys. Don't worry, we're not killing your leaders. But if you close the strait, we will. And then maybe they don't close the strait and this whole thing looks different.
I think we underestimated the Iranians. I think they really thought, Trump and the folks, that they would just get unconditional surrender because that's how this thing started. People forget already. It didn't start with, well, if you open the strait and if you're nice. No, it started with unconditional surrender. And I really think Trump and his people thought they were going to get that. They wiped out 40 guys day one. They're bombing all over the place. They were never going to get that. These animals don't care. They don't care. Well, they're starving the people. They don't care.
Yeah, they're happy for the Iranians to eat grass. So it doesn't matter how much economic pressure you put on. They don't care. Right. They're willing to gun down 40,000 of them. They're willing to.
How come I know all this? I'm just a dopey radio host. How come I know all this? I'm not in the situation rooms. I'm not sitting there with all these people, including the president. How come you know this, Rich Lowry, and people sitting in D.C. didn't know this? I mean, come on.
Because you're not sitting in the big chair. You weren't in the situation room when you took this enormous risk to go into Venezuela and get Maduro out, and it worked brilliantly.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but the difference is Venezuela is the size of Brooklyn, and Iran's got 90 million people.
It's true. It's true, but someone comes in and tells you, you know what, we can kill the Ayatollah like in 2 hours if you go now.
Yeah.
You'd be tempted. I understand why I took that shot. I don't think in retrospect we should have taken that shot. I would have
done it. No, I'd be more than tempted. I would have done it, but I would have put, and I hate to say this to the families of our military, I would have put boots on the ground. I'd have them inside those uranium chambers as we speak, and whatever else has to be done. I know it's terrible. I know it is, but what the hell do you think war is? What kind of war is this? Just bomb a bunch of people and then call it quits? Come on.
Well, again, if you're going to do that, you got to tell the public.
Tell them.
That's what you're going to do.
And you're right. They never would have gotten any congressional approval. I understand that. There's even members of Congress right now that didn't want the war to start with, and now they're mad about the deal. I mean, are you upset that tomorrow's Thursday, but we may have to wait until Friday to see the actual details?
I actually am. I think it's kind of ridiculous. We should know what it is. If it's been agreed, print the thing. Now, I think we've seen it. It seems as though we've seen it. Reputable outlets have said that this is what it is, but it's ridiculous that we don't know what it is.
I kind of agree too. But I'm going to end this conversation, which was great. You're so great at this. You know you are. And I love you to pieces, with J.D. Vance and Megyn talking about just that, about why don't we know what's in the deal? It's Wednesday. So you are amazing as always, Rich Lowry. I love you. Thank you so much. We'll do this again in 2 weeks.
Enjoy it over there.
Thank you, buddy. I will. Let's do that. Let's end this great Rich Lowry conversation, Lewis, by going to break by playing cut number 3. This is Vice President J.D. Vance with Megyn Kelly yesterday talking about the details, the devil.
About Hezbollah in Lebanon because, that's a proxy that they're funding.
Yep.
And that could easily queer this deal. It could queer this deal this week, people fear. Never mind on a go-forward basis, either side, Israel or Hezbollah.
Sure. Look, it's always delicate with these things. And what we've seen with the ceasefire in Lebanon, and it's been clear, to be clear, a dirty ceasefire. There's been some shooting back and forth, but frankly, there's way less shooting now than there was 2 weeks ago. There's way less shooting 2 weeks ago than there was before. So with these things, as the President of the United States said a couple weeks ago, he said sometimes a ceasefire just means they're shooting less, and that's the progress. And then you get to the next stage.
Is it included? Is Lebanon included?
Lebanon,
Hezbollah?
It is a regional peace deal. It's going to include the Gulf. It's going to include Israel. It's going to include Lebanon. The idea is this is a true regional peace deal because,
how do we do that
if the
without
Iranians
Netanyahu?
comply,
Sorry, forgive me for interrupting.
No. The idea is that if the Iranians comply, then we are going to have a true transformative deal for the Middle East. And if not, they don't get any economic benefits. The United States, we got what we came to do, and we're done. And that's the basic approach.
We would not turn on the spigot if Hezbollah hit Israel over and over?
Well, what I would say is, like, if Iran is funding Hezbollah, we're not going to allow a bunch of unfrozen assets to freeze to the Iranians, right? Now, I want to be clear about this, too, because those are not American assets. There's been a lot of misreporting on this, very, very crystal clear. Even if the Iranians do everything contemplated by this deal, not a penny of American money flows to Iran.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
My all-time favorite, Barry Manilow, who, as Lewis told us earlier today, celebrating his 83rd birthday today. Happy birthday, Barry, 83. So yesterday, I almost unfollowed my own sister, unfollowed her on Facebook. Not making it up. You're going to want to know why, I know. But not right now. I got to go because I know. I almost unfollowed her. In fact, I'm still considering doing it today.
Oh, no.
My own sister.
You can't do that.
Oh,
She's
I can
your
do
sister.
it. I don't care. I love her, but I can't stand what she posts. Well, I'll get to that because we got Jay Wright coming up next. If you don't know who Jay Wright is, I can tell you this. 3 Knicks just won a championship together. Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges, and Josh Hart. All 3 of those guys went to the same university, Villanova. And all 3 of those guys won championships together at Villanova. And their head coach was Jay Wright. Jay Wright, former great coach at both Hofstra and Villanova, joining me next.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment. Anyway, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
I'm a real fan. I'm watching the Knicks and the Memphis Grizzlies in December. I'm watching the Knicks and the Portland Trail Blazers in January. And if you appreciate Jalen Brunson and all those Villanova kids, what they accomplished with the Knickerbockers between Brunson, Bridges, and Hart, and even DiVincenzo a couple of years ago, then you got to thank Jay Wright. Now, Jay Wright, of course, was their coach in college at Villanova. He had a great run at Hofstra before that. And I got to know Jay very well. My very first ever TV appearance, very first ever, included Jay Wright. He was at Hofstra at the time, and a New Jersey Nets star named Keith Van Horn. That was my first TV appearance. It was Wright, Rosenberg, and Van Horn. And Jay went on to become one of the all-time greats. He is in the Basketball Hall of Fame. 2 championships, 4 Final Fours, and most importantly, a handsome bastard. He really is a good-looking guy. Here he is, live from somewhere in Pennsylvania today, my old buddy Jay Wright. Good morning, Jay. How are you?
Sid, how are you, buddy? Great to hear you.
Great to hear you, too. Are you still as handsome as you were back then? I hear you are. I hear you're still very good-looking.
Hell no, man. Hell no. You know, it all fades, man.
No, it doesn't. I hear you look great, and I know you're doing great, and man, Jay, it must have been something for you to watch all those guys have all that success. And I'm happy that throughout their run that they kept mentioning you. I was happy about that. And I know all those players thank you because they won with you and you had them ready to win at the next level. So when you talk about people being really happy the Knicks won, Jay Wright maybe at the very top of that list.
I was, man. I'll tell you what, it was a lot of fun. It was like being a proud papa. I didn't go to any games purposely because I just liked sitting back, just my wife and I enjoying every part of it, the pregame, the warm-ups, all the interviews post game, everything. I enjoyed watching them handle everything. I enjoyed watching the Knicks fans. I always like to hear you say Knickerbockers like a true New Yorker, because I remember the 70, 73, and 73 teams. I was a kid, but I was a Sixers fan, and I remember Wilt Chamberlain, Lou Alcindor, Jerry West, all those guys were around. Like, they were legendary players, kind of like Jordan and Kobe. And the Knicks kind of had really good players like Willis Reed and Walt Frazier and Bill Bradley, but they weren't kind of thought of as that level, but they were a great team. And that's what this team reminds me of.
You're right. Great team, amazing chemistry. And I do call them the Knickerbockers. In fact, I still refer to the Mets as the Metropolitans. I like him in the phone there. I know you like that.
I love that.
So I guess the big question is, throughout the run, or maybe even right after, the day after or the night of, did you hear from any of those players that won a championship with you?
Yeah, we would text. Like I said, I purposely didn't go to any games because one of the things we would always talk about in texting was like trying to eliminate all the hype, you know, after a big win, or especially during the playoffs when they were on that run of like 14 games in a row or whatever that was, that crazy number without a loss before they lost in Game 3 of the finals. We were talking about just getting to the next game, and that we would text about the fact that everybody's hyping up. You're close to winning it. You're close to closing out the series, but all you can handle is just the next game and your mindset going into the next game. And so we would text about that all the time. It's funny, Mikhail sent me a picture after the championship game from after Game 5 from on the court with his college teammates who played with him, who were down there at the game, and it was awesome. They're great guys. They're close. They're close with all their college classmates and teammates. They're just regular guys, and it's going to be hard to do that in New York now. When you do it in New York, it's like nowhere else in the world.
Yes.
So it's going to be a challenge for them going forward.
But that's the part that I think makes me most happy. This is Jay Wright. He coached those guys to a 2016 college championship. That was a great one. Chris Jenkins hits the big three against Carolina. You blew out Oklahoma along the way. I remember all of it. 2018, they won again. But the beauty about those guys is, forgetting about the fact that now Jalen Brunson is on most Knick fans' list as the third greatest Knick ever. That's a big deal, Jay Wright. Moving ahead of Patrick Ewing just behind Clayton Willis. Some have him, Clyde Willis, at number one. Forgetting about that. You look at Brunson, you look at Mikal Bridges, you look at Josh Hart, and they're good young men. And that goes back to you. I know you're a humble guy, Jay, but you coached them when they won a championship, a very big deal, two of them at Villanova. I believe whatever you did with those young men at Villanova prepared them to be champions, but even better men at the next level. So congratulations to you.
Thank you, Sid. It really starts with their parents, man. That all three of them, and their parents are friendly. They're at the games. All three of them have parents that were the kind of people that, number one, have great faith. Number two, were of the mindset when they struggled. And I remember in high school when I was recruiting them, in college, and even to this day, they've kind of developed their own way of handling this. But when during difficult times, they would, say to them, listen to your coach. What does your coach say? Which sounds simple, but it's so rare with talented athletes. And they've gotten to the point in their lives now as grown men where they handle that themselves. They handle success with humility. They handle failure with responsibility and a way to learn. And I think the next great challenge for them, which will hopefully enable the Knicks to remain as a championship level team, is all of this adulation when they. I mean, this parade's going to be incredible tomorrow. I lived in New York when the Yankees won it. I just can't imagine what this is going to be
bigger
like.
Yeah.
But to handle all this and then get past it and in the off season then continue to get better, because now everybody's coming after the Knicks. So now you've got to get yourself to another level and still remain humble.
That's not going to be easy. You're right. And Jay Wright again here, the amazing coach who coached all these Knicks, including Dante, who was a great Knick too, and he was part of that 2018 team with Bridges and Brunson that won a championship at Villanova. You know, the beautiful relationship between Jalen and his father, you know, on a much lower level, I guess, you know. My son plays in this summer basketball league in Bell Harbor, Jay. It's great. Rockaway. These are really good. Yeah, that's awesome. It's great. But I'm his coach. So we started our new season last night. I got Gabriel, my son, coming off the bench, my first kid coming off the bench, and we won by 12. But I'm walking home. This was like 9:30 last night, Jay. And my son, who's just a beautiful child, 17 now, he looked at me and he said, "Daddy, I love these nights. And I love the fact that you coach me and that we spend this time together." That was unprovoked. I didn't say, "Hey, Gabe, what do you think?" That was unprovoked. And that was probably a very similar conversation between me and Gabriel last night that Jalen and Rick had, when on a much bigger scale, they won the NBA championship, right?
No, you're exactly right. And that is what coaching and parenting is all about, is that moment right there that you just articulated. It's just those moments there are worth everything for you. And to know that you've instilled that in your son, and he's probably going to do the same thing one day. And that's exactly what Rick, and even though it's on another level, it is exactly what Rick and Jalen share. And I know what Rick takes great pride in. It's funny, Rick and I text, and we just had a similar text, and it just ended with Rick saying, "Same old Jalen," meaning just he's still a regular kid. You know, he's still a regular guy. He's not being affected by it. And I know that's what Rick takes the most pride in. And that Rick could be that kind of father. I mean, Jalen could be that kind of father one day, too.
Yeah, 100%. Now, I think I heard you say with my dear friend Joe Beningo, who used to be my midday partner when you were at Hofstra. I want to get to that quickly at the end. And he's on this show now once a week with me, even though he's still at the Fan. They let him come on here because he's so good. He loves politics, too. But I think he said to me that you said, to be fair, that, you know, you thought Jalen was a good ball player at Villanova, and certainly good in Dallas, but you never really thought he'd be this good. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but did you say that with Joe?
Yeah, I did not. I thought he was in a great situation in Dallas where Luka Doncic was kind of the go-to guy, but Jalen was the leader of the team and the point guard and the brains of the operation, and he could control everything. And when Luka got it going, he got him the ball in the right spots. And when Luka was injured or the defense was overplaying Luka, Jalen could go take over. I thought that was great for him. And I remember when he and I talked about when he's making his decision to come to the Knicks, he just said, he goes, I want to lead the team. And I didn't want to say to him, like, my man, you are leading the team. Like, and this, but I knew what he was saying. I knew he was saying, I want to be the go-to guy and lead the team. And I didn't say anything. I just said, hey, trust yourself. And because when you make a move like that, everybody can tell you what to do. But after they tell you what to do, they go live their own lives.
That's
You're
right.
the one that has to go live it every day.
And let me remind you that a lot of the people that love Jalen now, that call him the greatest, Stephen A. Smith and Dan Patrick and a lot of these smart guys, right? They all said when he signed with the Knicks, what a mistake. He can't be that guy. He can't be the guy that Jalen said to you, I want to be that guy. And now he's proven a lot of those guys said that. You know that, Jay.
Definitely. You're absolutely right. And I honestly didn't, if someone would have asked me, can you see him getting 45 in a closeout game on the road when a great defensive team is set completely to stop him? No way. I just didn't. That's one of the things that's amazing is to understand at a basketball level, when you have the best athletes in the world, which the Spurs have some of the best athletes in the world, and a great coaching staff and a defense committed to stopping you, in a huge game on the road, and you can get 45 against that. That's just that's still incomprehensible to me. I still struggle believing that he just did that. That was incredible.
Yeah. It's true. This is Jay Wright, who spent 21 years from 2001 to 2022 at Villanova, won 2 championships, 4 Final Fours, Basketball Hall of Famer back in 2021, Coach of the Year. It's exhausting reading all your good stuff here, Jay. 2006, 2016. But I'd be remiss before I let you go. I've got the Nassau County Executive, Bruce Blakeman. He's running for governor against Hochul. He's coming on this show in about 40 minutes. And a guy I know you know, the former great Congressman Peter King, he's also coming on today. So, so Nassau County represented in big time. And there you were between 1994 and 2001, putting the Hofstra men's basketball team on the map. You really did that. You had Speedy Claxton, right? Wasn't Speedy your guy?
Yeah, Speedy started it all. And we're also proud of Speedy and leading Hofstra this year to the NCAA tournament, which is the first time that Hofstra's been there since he led the team as a player back in the late 90s, early 2000s.
For you, yeah.
So it's incredible to have him at the helm. I love hearing you talk about Nassau County. We loved our years in Rockville Center. We're getting all those Hofstra boys together. One of our guards, James Schaefer, a Zavarian alum, has a bar in Manhattan, Schaefer's, and we're getting that whole team together.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
My son Gabriel said to me last night, unprovoked, on our walk home, Daddy, I love these nights. I love the fact that you coach me. And I keep talking about it this morning because I don't even think he realizes what that meant to me. It just blew me away. But Bert tells me his buddy who listens every day, Verrazano High School, I think, he's got tickets on the 26th in Newark. They've got a suite, and they want to invite me to the Manilow concert. No, they heard you talking earlier about the Newark show.
Yeah, last show that he's ever going to do in New Jersey.
Yeah, well, I've been invited now to sit in a suite, but
you have dinner plans already, so you can't do it.
That's right. My anniversary is the day before, 34 years to the beautiful Danielle. And I do want to get to the story of why I'm about to unfollow my own sister on Facebook. But I got to get to this guy, currently for the second time, the Nassau County Executive. But if God is good to us, he will be our next governor. I love this guy, Bruce Blakeman. And Bruce, I know you're coming on because I always get a text from Chris Boyle saying, is Bruce on hold?
Well, at least he's doing his job.
Yes, he's great. Your whole team is great, and they'll be even better when you get to Albany. Did you hear the show earlier? I had Jay Wright on, the former coach at Hofstra.
I did not. I was probably in the shower, but Jay Wright is a great coach, a great guy. He was out here on Long Island for a number of years, had tremendous success at Hofstra University. Then went on to Villanova, and from everybody I know that knows him, he's a real solid guy.
You just nailed it. So we talked mostly about Villanova because he coached at Villanova. Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, Mikal Bridges, they won 2 championships with him. And now, of course, they just won the Knick championship. So he's got all those guys. But I did go back to his days before that, 94 through 2001 at Hofstra. And he said, I got to tell you, I miss Rockville Center. I love Hofstra. He's actually coming to New York tomorrow for a wedding from one of his former players at Hofstra. And he talked up how beautiful Nassau County is. He was so happy that I was paying attention to Nassau County. So I thought you'd think that was cute. Jay Wright, been talked about a lot the last couple of days with the Knicks winning the championship, loving his days in Hempstead.
Yeah, he was a great coach here at Hofstra. He was a great corporate citizen, and we were all sad when he went to Villanova, but he accomplished so much at Villanova, winning a championship, and he'll go down in history as one of the great coaches of all time, right up there with Bobby Knight and Dean Smith and the others.
You're right. No, he is. In fact, he did make the Hall of Fame in 2021. He won 2 championships at Villanova, 4 Final Fours, so Bruce Blakeman all over it. I don't think Kathy Hochul knows any of that. Here is a tweet from Kathy Hochul from a couple of days ago. While Bruce Blakeman refuses to recognize Juneteenth, which I still have no idea what that is, I got to be honest, in Nassau County. Today, I joined thousands of New Yorkers celebrating the 50th Juneteenth Buffalo Parade, which, by the way, is June 19th is not here yet, but she celebrated this a couple of days ago, the moron. One of the largest and longest running celebrations of African-American freedom. So she had a parade for Juneteenth on like June 12th, and she's calling you out for not caring. No, I don't care, but I never heard you say that, ever.
No, listen, Juneteenth is an historic moment in American history. It happened in Texas. It was a time when the cessation of slavery begun at that point. And I have nothing against celebrating Juneteenth. As a matter of fact, I usually participate in Juneteenth ceremonies. But my union, the CSEA, wants to backdoor their way into another paid holiday. And we have 13 paid holidays now. Most of the counties in New York State have only 13 paid holidays. And he wants to try and get another paid holiday. And I said, no. I said, if you want Juneteenth as a paid holiday, you got to give me back another one. And he doesn't want to give back the Friday after Thanksgiving. So I guess it's not that important, Juneteenth, to our labor leader, Chris Callender, who is very disingenuous. So, no, I've said, look, I'll give Juneteenth as a paid holiday, but give me back one.
I love that. Well, how about we stop referring to Columbus Day as Indigenous People Day? Nothing against Indigenous people. We got holidays for all this stuff. Make another one. I don't care. But why does it have to be on the same day as Columbus Day? You know, Mamdani actually walked past a Christopher Columbus statue and gave it the finger. So we talk about Mamdani hates the Jews, no doubt about that. Mamdani hates the Catholics. He didn't even go to Ronald Hicks' installation when he replaced Cardinal Dolan. He walked past a Columbus statue and gave it the finger. How do you think Italians feel about Mamdani today?
Well, every time I go to the Knights of Columbus, I tell them, so long as I'm county executive and when I become governor, nobody will take down a Christopher Columbus statue while I'm in charge. That's number one. Number two, Mamdani, he dissed the Puerto Rican people. In past years, every mayor has hosted a breakfast on the Saturday before the Puerto Rican Day parade, and Mamdani canceled it. So you know what I did, Sid? I hosted it.
Oh, you did?
I hosted it in New York City, and we had pastors from Hispanic and Latino communities come out. We had community leaders. We had political leaders. We had a great Puerto Rican band, and we celebrated that holiday and that appreciation of the Puerto Rican people. It's as if Mamdani is giving the finger not only to Christopher Columbus, but to Jews and now to Puerto Ricans. And Catholics. I don't know what that's all about.
And he's such a phony because he did show up at the parade and he's out there. Remember last year he was dancing with AOC. But I know, you know how I gauge the Puerto Rican community? From Ruben Diaz Jr., I swear to God. And he loves you. He loves you, and he can't stand Mamdani. So Mamdani thinks you show up at the parade and you smile and you do a little salsa with AOC, and the people love you. But as you pointed out, he screwed over the Puerto Ricans. But once again, Bruce Blakeman was there to run to the rescue. I also heard this week that Hochul came out with those budget numbers, and she wasn't being very honest, that the numbers are actually much higher than what she is saying to the public. I know you know about that.
$9 billion higher.
Jeez.
She's giving more money to illegal migrants, free housing, free food, free transportation, a free cell phone. She's giving more benefits to illegal migrants than she is to New Yorkers who pay taxes every day. They work hard, they play by the rules, and they get less from their governor than people who arrive here, and in 15 minutes they get more benefits than New Yorkers. It's disgraceful. I will end it on day one when I become governor.
I also saw on your Twitter page, this is Bruce Blakeman, and I say this all the time, not to be overly dramatic or put any more pressure on Bruce than he already has, but we're holding on by a string. The city's dead. It's dead. I don't care if 9 million people show up tomorrow. I don't care how many Brad Lander rallies they are. He's a piece of garbage, a real low-life human being. The city's holding on by a thread. It's basically dead, but the state, I should say, is holding on by a thread, and the only way to save this state, the only way, is if Bruce Blakeman wins. And I love when you put up a picture on your Twitter a couple of days ago of Mamdani and Hochul together. Because if you don't like Mamdani, then you have to understand you're buying that package. They come together. And Hochul is so deathly afraid of Mamdani that she endorsed him in about 15 minutes without him endorsing her. And anything he wants her to do, if she wins, which she won't, but if she does, she's going to do. So explain to this state, this city, Bruce Blakeman, that when you take on Mamdani, now you've got Hochul, you've got a 1-2 deal.
Well, Comrade Kathy is subservient to Mamdani the commie, and they're working together to destroy our state, to destroy our city, and that's why I'm running for governor, Sid. I'm not going to let it happen. I'm going to fight for our kids and our grandkids. We're going to make it more affordable. We're going to cut taxes, cut utility rates in half, and make for safer communities. And I don't care whether you're black, Hispanic, Asian. I don't care what your religion is. I don't care what your lifestyle is or your abilities are. Everybody in New York wants that because they're miserable under Kathy Hochul. And now with Mamdani the commie, they're even more miserable.
Two more things. Did you see this second home tax, Pierre? There's something I can't say in French. I don't even want to. That now Mamdani and Hochul are talking about applying that to co-op buildings. Did you see that?
Well, it's going to apply to everybody at some point. And then what they're going to do is they're going to lower the threshold to be taxed. So right now they're taxing the rich, but when all the rich people leave, they're going to need tax revenue when those people leave, and it's going to fall on the middle class. And by the way, when rich people leave, Sid, it hurts carpenters, electricians, plumbers, waiters, waitresses, the local dry cleaner, the dog walker. When rich people leave, and they're going to leave because they've had enough of Kathy Hochul and Zohran Mamdani, when they leave, they take their business with them. And that's going to hurt average middle-class New Yorkers. And what about the fact that Mamdani has threatened to raise property taxes 9.5%? He basically is screwing the middle class. He promised to make New York City more affordable, and he wants to increase taxes on single-family and two-family homes in Brooklyn and Queens and the Bronx and Staten Island. I'm not going to let him do that.
Last one. When I saw this tweet, again, we've had a great conversation here. Go back and listen later, not you, Bruce, but the listeners, and think about how many things we just discussed that Bruce can fix that are terrible for New Yorkers. But this one, I can't believe she's still talking about this. Governor Kathy Hochul. Here we go, Bruce, on her Twitter page. Time and time again, Donald Trump, she didn't call him President Trump because she's disrespectful. Time and time again, Donald Trump has failed in his attempts to kill offshore wind. She's still talking about windmills, this dumb biatch. She goes, and while he has rightly dropped this fight, New York will remain vigilant to protect projects that create good jobs and help us transition to clean and reliable energy. She's still talking windmills, Bruce.
Do you know, Sid, that we are sitting on one of the largest natural gas reserves in the world in New York State? It's on the border of Pennsylvania. It's on the southern tier in New York. And the fact that we don't extract that natural gas, that's one of the reasons why our utility bills are 70% higher than the national average. And you know what the bad thing is? It's disgraceful. We're buying that same gas, but from Pennsylvania. So New Yorkers are losing out on the jobs. They're losing out on the prosperity. They're losing out on the tax revenue. And they're losing out on the supply of energy that would bring their utility costs down. It is bizarre. She is completely wedded to the green energy scam. I will end that also on January 1st. We will start to drill, baby, drill, and create prosperity in New York State and lower utility bills.
There it is. That's why you will win. Well, there's a million reasons why. I mean, you're just great. Everybody loves Bruce Blakeman.
Hey, Sid, one last thing. Did you hear what Jalen Brunson said the other day about taxes in New York?
Yeah, he wants to go back to Dallas.
He said, what do you miss about Texas? He said the low taxes.
Yeah, it's true.
I love that guy.
Yeah, he actually brought that up unprovoked. Like he actually said, I missed the low taxes when he played for the Dallas Mavericks in Texas. Here he is. He's the king of New York, right? 4 million people going to show up tomorrow. They love this guy. He's having a life that he can only dream about. And what he talk about? Taxes in Dallas. Honestly, that should be your commercial, Bruce. Just you and him.
You're going to hear a lot of that.
Bruce, I love you. You really are doing a terrific job. Somehow, you deserve a lot of credit. You're still the greatest Nassau County executive ever. And at the same time, you're all over this state, everywhere. Rochester, Syracuse, Utica, Buffalo. You're in Buffalo a couple days ago. So juggling that important job in Nassau County and running this great campaign, I give you a lot of credit, Bruce Blakeman. You're an amazing guy. You got a lot of strength like your friend Trump. So congratulations.
Thanks so much, Sid, and happy anniversary. Safe travel.
Thank you. Thank you, buddy. Thank you. Yes, next Thursday, 34 years to the beautiful Danielle. But before that, as Bruce just mentioned, I'm off to Tel Aviv tomorrow. We'll take a break. We'll stay in Nassau County. We love it there anyway.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
They're crazy. I got to get to this story about my sister. You're not going to believe this, but I'm getting text messages and social media is dying to know. And it's not you, Ray Sherry. Don't worry, my beautiful sister, Ray Sherry. And my great brother-in-law, Albert. And by the way, all my sisters are beautiful. Let me preface this later conversation by saying I love all three of my sisters, Alana, Ray Sherry, and Elizabeth. And they're all terrific. But one's retarded. That's the bottom line. What do you want to do about it? It's not my fault, Justin. Is it?
No.
Mm-hmm. Whose fault is it? My mother, Naomi?
No.
No.
I don't think
My
it's
late father, Harvey?
I don't think it's anybody's fault.
Nobody's fault?
No.
Well, something happened.
That's for sure.
For sure. So we'll get to that story. President Trump, just so you know, as I get ready to go to Israel tomorrow, 3 weeks ago, you ready for this, Naomi? 3 weeks ago, his approval rating in Israel was plus 23. You know what it is now?
Minus something?
Minus 23.
Yeah.
46 points in 3 weeks.
That's
you
crazy.
never see that. I'm trying to tell you, man. What did I tell you? I'm getting text messages from friends of mine who live here. Forget about Israel. They live here. Some on Park Avenue, some in the Village. They're like, he betrayed us. Now, you said you didn't like that word, but that's how they feel. They feel like he betrayed us. And until he makes all the details of this deal public and gives especially the Jews a reason to think he hasn't, he's losing support every day. It doesn't matter. He's not running anymore. He's already won twice. He's not going to run for Prime Minister of Israel, but he would have won that going away about a month ago. Now he wouldn't. So I think it's in President Trump's best interest to make these details available and tell us the truth. What's going on here?
Betrayal is such a strong word. I mean,
that's how they feel.
I know, but he's been incredibly supportive, maybe unlike any other president in our history.
Not maybe. He has been.
Okay,
100%.
So you can't then turn on him.
Don't yell at me. I'm not. I don't feel betrayed. Okay. I'm upset. I'm disappointed. I still love the guy. I love him to pieces. He's the best.
And we don't know the details yet.
Yeah,
so they're talking betrayal.
We know the details.
We probably know most of them.
We
But
know them.
He's the president of the United States. That's the first place he has to look out for. And that's what he's doing.
Okay, but if you're a Jew and Jewish lives in this country, difficult enough to begin with, in this country, forget about Israel, then you care about Israel, which a lot of Jews in New York don't, but a lot of Jews around the country do, then you're going to be upset, if not angry, pissed. Yeah, betrayed. I'm not using that word, but a lot are. That's all I'm saying. Yeah. We'll see what Pete King feels, the amazing former congressman, Homeland Security. And if you follow Pete King on social media, Facebook especially, he does a really good job with his opinions. He's got fun stuff on there too, Met stuff and stuff in and around Nassau County, but he does a good job on social media opining on these major topics. And from what I've seen, Pete King, the last couple of days, you wouldn't be all that upset with that word, betrayed. Or am I speaking for you?
Yeah, I wouldn't use betrayed. I think the president is committed to doing the right thing, but I have to say I'm very disappointed in this agreement. I don't know where it leads. In many ways, it brings us back to where we were when the war started, and in some cases worse, because now we know that Iran can shut down the Strait of Hormuz almost whenever it wants. unless we have a way to prevent that from happening, they right now are holding the upper hand, which they didn't back on February 28th. And also talking about Israel, which obviously is important, not just for Israel's sake, but for our sake, because they're a key ally. And the other nations in the Middle East, the Arab states, they will look to see how we treat Israel as to whether or not they should be respectful of Israel. So that's really what President Trump's strong point in the first administration toward Israel was with the Abraham Accords. That showed the Arab nations that we were absolutely committed to Israel. Now, like the president said yesterday, that Israel should get out of Lebanon, as if they want to be there in the first place, and they should stop fighting with Hezbollah in Lebanon because they haven't done a good job, and they should turn it over to Syria. I mean, that looks so bad. It sends such a wrong signal. And also the fact that he's been so critical of Netanyahu. Listen, to me, you can like or dislike Netanyahu, but the fact is he is a leader of a democracy. He has stood with President Trump all the way. And when, as you were saying the other day, the president's never said a bad word about Erdogan or Xi in China, or Mandami for that matter, we can go down the list. And to be so personally critical of Netanyahu, a man who has shown tremendous leadership both for Israel and supporting Western values with the United States. So, no, listen, to me, a lot more has to be explained. Maybe there's still time to salvage this over the next 60 days. But where it is right now, it's not the position I think anybody expected us to be in back on February 28th and March 1st.
Yeah, and not only does he not say bad things about those guys, he compliments them. I mean, I'm sick and tired. I don't know about the rest of you people. I know he's playing chess. You know, that's another comment that's getting tired. But I'm sick and tired of hearing him compliment Mamdani. Good guy, great guy, smart guy. Same thing with the Iranian regime 2 days ago. These are wonderful people to deal with. They're smart people. So it'd be one thing if he didn't say anything. But when he goes out of his way to compliment Mamdani, but Bibi's an asshole, and Bibi's difficult, and Bibi's this, and Bibi's that. Some people say to me, in the know, okay, that he's doing that because he got really sick and tired of hearing his detractors say that this is Bibi's war. That, the memes of Bibi walking President Trump on a leash, and this is Trump fighting Bibi in Israel's war, and he got sick and tired of hearing that. So now, in an effort to show everybody that, hey, you're stupid, no one makes decisions for me, which is true, they are stupid, and no one makes decisions for me. In his effort to really pound that home, that's why he's being extra tough on Bibi. What do you think?
I certainly hope he's not thinking that because, first of all, we're the most powerful nation in the world. He's the most powerful person in the world. Israel is a small country, a valued ally, but no one who knows anything about foreign policy or about world affairs thinks for a moment that the Prime Minister of Israel can tell any president what to do. Certainly not Ronald Reagan before him, certainly not Donald Trump today. And you can't allow personal feelings or inadequacies get in the way.
No, you're right. But you can't do that. You're right. But you know President Trump as well as I do. Yeah. That's him, right or wrong. Come on.
That's why I said at the beginning. I'm hoping it's not true. Okay. And again, one of the reasons I'm a little maybe holding back what I maybe really feel is that the president is the president. He's involved in very intense negotiations right now. I don't want to be saying anything to undermine him more than I have to. I hate to say that. But, I mean, no, listen, you have to learn to get along with other leaders. I mean, I don't mean the enemy. Forget that. By World War II, Roosevelt was always fighting with Churchill and de Gaulle. Even Reagan and Thatcher had some real serious differences. But you overlook that for the greater good. So right now, even if he hated Netanyahu, even if Netanyahu was to him the worst person in the world, you stand with him until this war is over. And Netanyahu should stand with him. So this is, to me, it's not showing good leadership. It's not showing good statesmanship, and it's losing perspective of the big deal. I mean, listen, you can say he solved the war between Azerbaijan and whoever else it was over there at the time, or the fact that he got a Maduro out of Venezuela. As you say, that's like going in and taking out the borough president of Brooklyn. Right. The fact is, there's no comparison. And also, people like Maduro and others, they're thugs. They're there just to make money and enrich themselves and be power hungry. Say what you want about the mullahs in Iran. They are dedicated fanatics. They're not there for the personal glory and the personal gain. They are willing to die for what they believe in. I mean, what they believe in is an evil ideology, but they are evil people, and they are willing to literally fight to the death. And when we talk about the economy suffering and people starving, they don't care.
No.
If they can go forward, that's the price you pay for a dollar. You do that. You do what you have to do. And we have to understand that. And that's why I wish we had somebody besides Steve Witkoff over there negotiating. I mean, to me, you need people who understand the full ideology, how evil these people are. It's not a real estate deal. It's not a business deal. This is really dealing with the devil, and you have to know how to do that.
Yeah, both Witkoff and Jared Kushner have come under fire the last couple of days from Republicans. Forget about Democrats. They hate everything we do. But even Republicans have been very critical of those two guys. Well, the news today is that not that long ago, President Trump spoke and said the deal is not done. So, I don't know. My head's spinning. They're going to be in Switzerland on Friday. Supposedly we signed the deal. I don't know. People are still waiting the details of this memorandum. But now he said today it's not done. And he made it very clear yesterday that if they don't comply, which they're not going to do, we're going to bomb them and bomb them and bomb them and hit them over the head. And, you know, again, I love this guy. I love him. He showed the balls and courage that no other president did. But after a while, it's the boy who cried wolf, man. You keep saying you're going to do this and do this and do this, and you don't. You heard my conversation with Mike Lawler yesterday. And even Rich Lowry this morning. You never should have started this. If you wanted to do this and you didn't want people to die, that's honorable. You know, my son, who I love to death, he's not serving. So I can't speak on behalf of a parent who's got a kid who's serving. And my heart goes out to them, okay? But if you're going to start a war, you need to finish it. And it seems to me like President Trump wanted to halfway this thing. He really hoped that Iran would just fold and say, okay, we give up. It's an unconditional, capture. They were never going to do that. Never. So I don't know who planned this thing. It started off really good, but it's ending like a big, wet fart. How about that?
You know, the military did everything it had to do, but to me, there's no such thing as an easy war. Even when George Bush invaded Panama, George Bush the First, back in 1989, 1990. We had casualties. We had soldiers die in that. Every war is tough. You have to assume it's going to be tough. You have to assume also that whatever your battle plan is, it's not going to work right away. You have to have first, second, third, fourth degree battle plans. You have to be ready for everything that might happen. And you don't do it unless you're committed to the full thing. You can't go half-ass on a war. Otherwise, you look bad and it ends up being a loss. Even if it's not, it looks like a loss. And to the rest of the world, you lose your prestige. Not that you care about prestige per se, but it means whether or not they're going to respect you, whether they're going to honor you when you need their troops in the future, when you need future commitments. And so this, to me, is it was apparently not well laid out politically. And obviously, militarily, they did whatever they had to do. Whatever they were asked to do, they did. They did it to perfection. I mean, absolutely great. But you have to have the second and third degree plans. You have to know what's going to happen. If they didn't surrender the first day or the second day, if they didn't agree to unconditional surrender the first week, what do we do next? And that seems we don't have that. And talking about going back to bombing, well, that didn't work to get the ultimate goal. Obviously, more will be required, I think, than the bombing. And also, I think we should try to get some allies involved. Why didn't we have the Brits and other NATO countries ready to go in, not to the fighting? I mean, he didn't tell them we were going into the war, but if they had spoken with them, have their minesweepers ready so that if the Strait of Hormuz was shut down, they would be there. Listen, I don't expect him to get along with the Europeans. They can be very difficult to deal with, but the fact is, everyone can be used. You can use them where they're helpful. They would have been very helpful here if you played the game a bit with them about. It can't all be macho. You have to know how to build coalitions, get them done. After it's over, you can say what you think of the guy. While it's going on, you work with them, they work with you.
All right, turns out, breaking news, Trump has delayed Jay Clayton's DNI confirmation. That has been delayed. He wants the U.S. Attorney General to be accepted, confirmed first. So he's saying that Bill Pulte will remain in that position, which was occupied not that long ago by Tulsi Gabbard, of course. So Trump is calling off, at least for right now, Clayton, his DNI confirmation. That is a big story unfolding as we speak. Are you upset, Pete, that the real details about this deal are still under wraps till maybe at least Friday?
Yeah, we're talking about something that could decide the future of the Middle East, and the Middle East, in many ways, is going to determine the future of the United States. We're in this, and we should know. Listen, if you didn't get authorization from Congress to go in there, I understand why you didn't. You expected it to be quick. But if you're going to sign up to any kind of an agreement that binds the U.S. long term, then the American people should know about it.
Patty cake, baker's man.
If your child has moderate to severe eczema that's not well controlled with prescription topicals, their itchy skin can feel uncomfortable when playing with others. Dupixent, dupilumab, helps kids as young as 6 months stay ahead of their eczema.
Patty cake, baker's man.
So they can have clearer skin and noticeably less itch. Dupixent helps them heal their skin from within, and it's not a cream, steroid, or immunosuppressant. Severe allergic reactions, including skin reactions, can occur. Get help right away for face, mouth, tongue, or throat swelling, wheezing, or trouble breathing. Tell your doctor right away of new or worsening eye problems like eye pain or vision changes, skin symptoms, joint aches and pain, or a parasitic infection. Don't change or stop other treatments without talking to your doctor.
Patty cake, baker's
Dupixent helps your child feel the heal. Ask your child's eczema specialist. Visit Dupixent.com or call 1-844-DUPIXENT.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
So, on my Facebook page yesterday, something pops up from my sister, and I never, ever see my sister post. Now, I'm not going to say which one and what the name is, but of course, if you know me and my family, that's pretty easy to figure out. And I've mentioned her name before, and I love her. She's great, and my brother-in-law. So it pops up on my page, something on Facebook. You can't make this up. It's a picture of President Trump and De Niro. So, look, you know I've been critical of the Iran deal. I'm asking a lot of questions. That's my job. Okay, I love President Trump. I'm sorry, Karen. I love him. I'm not going to turn on him. I'm not going to do it. He has still been better to Israel than the last 100 presidents combined. Okay, 44 to be exact. He's the best. But I'm very concerned about this. This has not been good. Not the deal, not the way he's treating Bibi. I get all of that. But I'm not going to just stab the guy in the back and run on him. He's been great to us for a long time, okay? But when I see stuff like this on top of it, like from my sister, then I love him even more. And I really can't turn my back on him. She's got a picture that she posts. It's not hers. Some other vile site. Of President Trump and Robert De Niro. You ready for this, Noam? So Sunday at Town Hall in New York City, you may know about this, Lou. There was a Rise Up and Sing concert. You guys hear about this?
I'm not sure.
Okay, so Julia Roberts was there.
I don't know about
She's another traitor, America-hating, Trump-hating traitor. Bette Midler, she's one of the worst. Patti Smith, Lily Gladstone, Tessa Thompson. And this is how you know if you post anything with this lady's name in there, you should have your account taken away from you, including my own sister. Joy Reid was there. Joy Reid, the racist, disgusting, vile animal that is Joy Reid, okay? So De Niro gets up and makes a speech. And he says, I'm going to make it very short. He says, for everybody that's always saying we all love our country, he goes, not so fast. I can't say that anymore. Not with President Trump in charge.
Oh, I saw that post.
Oh, yeah. And then he went on to talk about ICE, how they're killing innocent people. You stupid bastard. You dumb effing moron. 2 people died. They were far from innocent. Far from innocent. Didn't deserve to die. But I would say that those 2, compared to the thousands and thousands and thousands of murderers and rapists and drug dealers that we put away, at the end of the day, the score's in our favor, okay? No innocent person should ever die. They weren't innocent. They weren't dragged out of their homes like this lousy media lies to you about. They were not dragged out of a church or a school. They were there on purpose to antagonize right in the middle of a federal police effort. And they were killed. If they were home, they'd be alive. So enough with the good and pretty were innocent. No, they weren't. No, they weren't. Didn't deserve to die, but not innocent. It could be both. So anyway, all these losers are at this thing, and De Niro, who continues to stay here, he should leave. Go to Italy. Go someplace else. If America is not the best country and Trump has ruined it, Bobby, get the F out. No one's going to miss you. Nobody. Everybody in this town thinks you're a jerk-off. Everybody. Even the old mobsters who used to love you, they think you're a jerk-off. Even the guys that are acting beside you. I'm not going to name names. They think you're a jerk-off. Everybody thinks you're a jerk off except for my sister. And then she's not done. An hour later, I see another post. This is unbelievable. There's a movie coming out which stars Bradley Cooper, who's another jerk off. And it's a Sean Penn movie about January 6th. And I guess Cooper plays this real-life character. I forgot the guy's name. He was there for some of the trial, I guess. I don't know. And the post goes on and on about this is the movie that Trump doesn't want you to see. The real story about January 6th. The $2 trillion. All the efforts pardoning all these bad people. Bad people. One person died that day, not 5 cops, Stephen A. Smith. Sorry, buddy, one. It wasn't even that day. He died the next day. And he didn't get hit over the head with a fire extinguisher like the Democrats said he did. He died of a heart attack the next day. No cops were murdered on that day, none. One person was murdered on that day. One Trump supporter, Ashley. That's it. Now, what they did was gross. It wasn't a good day for the country. It was embarrassing. But it wasn't Trump's fault. He said, walk peacefully. And these animals went there with an agenda. Yes, there are some a-holes on the right, too. Not many compared to the left, but we got some. And they got out of control that day and made the president look bad and the country look bad. There's no question about it. But it wasn't the violent cops dying, people dying nonsense that Democrats have lied about now for 6 damn years. And Sean Penn is a jerk-off. And he's making a movie, and my sister is excited about that. Robert De Niro and Sean Penn. My sister should be ashamed of herself. These are the people. These are the people you're posting about. These 2 traitorous bastards. These old, washed-up, mother-effing actors who no one gives a rat's ass about. Robert De Niro and effing Sean Penn. You should be ashamed of yourself. Anyway.
Okay, that's good enough reason. So how did the unfollow go? How did that?
You haven't done it yet, have you?
No, I'm doing it now. I'm really pissed off.
Let me tell you why you shouldn't do it.
Why?
Because think about your own kids, right?
Yeah.
And that when you're gone, if you ever had the thought that they weren't getting along, they weren't talking to each other, that would just crush you. That would crush you, right? That they weren't.
But we're past that already.
No.
I've been talking about my sister for years.
Yeah, but you get along with everybody.
When I see her, sure. I love my sister. I love my brother-in-law, too.
Yeah, so, all right.
But when I'm not with them, I talk bad about them all the time.
Right. And you just did it now. So you got it out of your system.
No, it's not out of my system. I'm furious.
I understand you're furious, but I'm just, when it comes to family,
she's a smart girl.
Oh, she is.
But how stupid could you be?
Sometimes you just got to this is one of those ones you just got to let it go. Because she's your sister. And you don't want to start something because sometimes you start something.
What do you mean?
I understand, but sometimes you go to a place and you can't come back. You don't want that to happen. Mm-hmm. So just ignore her. You can, where's this on Facebook?
Yeah.
You can, sleep. What is it? I think called sleep her post or something where you don't see it for like a
month.
No.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So just do that. She won't even know that you're seeing it anymore.
Okay. I'm not familiar with that.
Yeah. I'll show you how to do it.
All right, we'll just do that.
I do it to you all the time. So you should, I should
shut up.
It's been a decade.
Right. Now you know why I haven't responded.
Well, I got to go. Charlie Marino even called him a jerk off, and Charlie used to love him. I'm sure he did. Oh, we got to go. Do you really do that to me?
I do it to you. How do you think I hear all the things that are coming out of you?
John Solomon is coming up.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
John Solomon, how are you, brother?
I'm great, Sid. Good to be with you.
Nice to have you, too. So, no one loves and adores Trump more than me, except for maybe you. Okay. But I've been critical. I say this all the time, John Solomon. Even Pat Riley lost the game. Even Vince Lombardi lost the game just because I love him, and he's the best at the job probably ever, and I want him there now and forever. Doesn't mean he's perfect, and this Iran deal is far from perfect for me, and his treatment of Bibi, I believe, in his attempt to show the world that he's still in charge, is also a bit rough for me. What are your thoughts?
Well, listen, I don't think we know everything about the deal yet. And so I think what we know is fragmentary. And my training as a journalist is to wait till we have all the facts. Because what we have found time and again in the Trump administration is what we thought or what we were told happened when you got down into the dirt and you found out it wasn't what we were told. And so there could be a lot of things going on right now that we haven't considered. For instance, there's a delay in releasing the text. Is that because there's an operation to go get the uranium and show an early good sign of faith? We don't know, but that's always a possibility. It was something that was on the table during the discussions. Maybe that's why we haven't seen the full text yet. I think everyone's going to have to evaluate it. There is clearly a split inside the administration. I think people like CIA Director John Ratcliffe and Secretary of War Pete Hegseth don't like this deal. And there are people on the other side, like J.D. Vance, who does like the deal.
Well, but J.D. Vance likes the deal, John, because let's face it, he never wanted this war in the first place.
Yeah, I think that he's been pretty clear that he's a guy that after fighting in war doesn't want any more long wars. This wasn't a long war. It was a short war. The initial objective has been same. We have kept Iran from being close to a nuclear weapon anytime new. Everything else was always unclear about the objective. The president's objectives were clear. We weren't doing regime change. We were making sure that Iran can't develop a nuclear weapon, can't attack us effectively with mid and long-range missiles, and don't have the capability to develop significant military manufacturing. And so we've achieved those objectives. Now we have to create a scenario to see what is the deal, and then how do you enforce the deal? Because you can't trust Iran unless you can verify it. We'll have to see what those trust and verification modules are. I don't think the president is naive. I also don't think the president would have a problem, based on my reporting, going back and reattacking them 6-8 months from now if there's non-compliance. He means business. And so I think the key for me as a journalist is we don't know what we don't know yet, and we will get to know that by Friday. I think we're going to know more by Friday, and then we'll be able to evaluate the deal. But I'll be honest, there's a split in the administration. Not everybody likes this deal, and that probably tells us it's not the perfect deal for people who want the Iran situation to be dealt with forever. It might be the perfect deal for the next 8 months, and then give the president flexibility after the 2026 election to go back a second time. But we got to get the parameters. All these leaks, we really don't know what's in the deal until we get the deal. And it looks like we will get it tomorrow, and it will be signed on Friday. So I think we'll know more on Friday.
Fair enough. Talking about knowing more, this plot at UFC 250 on Sunday. It is amazing. They've arrested 5 people now. I believe all 5 people are in different states. They had guns, they had drones, they had bombs. They wanted to drop explosives from the drones and then start shooting with snipers at people running in panic. And they had a very serious plan. It didn't go off. Again. And I think Cash Patel is coming under fire for, once again, they think he leaked too much about the investigation. But anyway, more importantly, what do you think about this whole thing?
Well, first off, just think about that mom who turned in her own son because she didn't want to see the mayhem and the death and destruction that could have occurred from her son's alleged terror plot. She's a hero. We don't often talk about people like that, but it's got to be a painful decision to turn in your son to make sure you saved lives. That's the first part, because that's the trigger. We had no idea it was happening until this mom came forward. When you look at it, there are 3 components about this that I think are very important for the future of fighting terrorism in America. The first is drones are going to be the preferred weaponry of terrorists going forward, just like they're the preferred weaponry of Ukraine and Russia now and Iran. 2, they're cheap and inexpensive. 3, they're deadly. And 8 months ago, for the first time, even though it was obvious for a decade that drones were going to be a threat to American public, we created the first ever national counterterrorism strategy for countering drones. And I think that that's a good thing. So even if this plot began to unfold, we had capabilities at the White House that would have stopped some of this attack. The third part is these kids are very interesting. They're young. They have early Christian upbringing. They have early, some libertarian leanings based on the early things we've learned about them. And yet they're radicalized to become leftists. They have the anti-Semitism in their background. And what we're seeing now is an effort to recruit people on both sides, conservative or libertarian, and others who can be quickly weaponized through social media, through influencers. And I think that this is a threat. We have an entire generation of young people who are drawn to the anti-Semitic arguments, to the anti-American arguments, and this is a threat that we're going to face for a decade because of what our education system did to precondition our young people to think this way or be receptive to these arguments. We got to nip anti-Semitism in the bud, nip anti-Americanism in the bud, nip these influencers who sell snake oil when they don't have it, and get a generation reclaimed from America, because these kids were easily weaponized, and I think that's the scariest part of this plot of all.
I think you're right, John. As always, amazing information. I keep saying it to you. I think you're incredible. I really do. So thank you for hopping on for a couple of minutes today, and I'll talk to you when I get back from Israel, buddy. Thank you so much.
All right. Love your show, Sid. Thanks so much.
Love you too, John. It's John Solomon right there. He really is terrific.
Thanks for listening to Sid and Friends in the Morning. You can hear Sid and Friends in the Morning weekday mornings at 6. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?